do that.
How did you get by the laser field in the Great Hall?
Aha. The laser fields. Well.
All right. Let's see here. View on YouTube. View on YouTube. Do that there. All right, now I can drop this link. Okay. Breaking news, like super breaking news. All right. Let's see what's going on here now. I'm gonna grab a drink just quickly because it's so breaking. So breaking, I don't even have a coffee here with me. How's everybody doing today? Chief. Craig, what's up, buddy? What's up, brother? Amy, what's going down? All right, I'm gonna grab a beverage. I'll be right back. I will join you. All right, what's going on? Oh, my Vietnamese. They have a pub in Vietnam, an Irish pub. Anyway, okay. Miss So, Amy, Maya, G, Dave. What's going down, Mike? All right, so we got some news, breaking news. It's so breaking, I didn't even get a chance to pull up an article. Seamus has gone T9 visible mode. Oh. I was doing the beverage, chilled coffee. I have to have that. Otherwise, I might die. Okay, let's see if we can find an article here. Everybody boiling? Everybody boiling? Horrible hat. Well, my hat, I don't think I have hair right now. I'm ashamed to show my hair. It's not that. Okay. Listen, I this is what the sacrifice. I will come to the table with bad hair, even though my hair is not that fantastic. It's not like I do it just for you guys, but I don't like to have poor hair either. Okay, now inquiry announced. Let's see if we can find. I had some stuff lined up. I've been on the phone. Today was like honestly a fantastic day, which is rare for me. I've got good news all over the place from different people, and yeah, I don't know how much of that I can talk about, but some really good stuff happened for Tara, and I'm very, very happy about that. I think that above all things probably elates me, but that's a bit of a selfish thought, I guess, just for her well-being. But obviously this inquiry announcement, and that is due to who? You know who? You. Right on. Says the guy with bad hair. I had a good. I think that's fine. I can talk about that kind of stuff. I had a really good chat also with Paul Belango this morning, and there's going to be some more collaborative stuff going on. probably in the future here. And as I was getting off the phone, I said, I know it's probably a really stupid question, but would you ever consider doing an interview? And he's like, sure, absolutely. My weekend, I'm pretty busy right now. I just even noticed that, but he's talking about the weekend. So maybe on the weekend, maybe. No promises. Maybe he'll be like, Seamus, you know what? I'm tired of you. You're just a terrible guy. But let's keep fingers crossed. Paul, Tim, we've got Mare, Lindsay, got some really like awesome people. I'm totally forgetting a bunch of these journalists out there that have been really pushing hard. Tim really, there's just so many superstars in this story. Like, isn't it amazing to watch how resilient and fantastic and dedicated, and there's nothing about egos. It's not about, oh, I bested you, or I can sell the most papers, or Rick Howe, there's another one. Really, really fantastic stuff, which was, funnily enough, what I was working on. So if you actually, I'll show you on my share screen. I got tied up on a phone call, not tied up because I've had just some fantastic visits with people. You can see the tabs. I have them lined up for what I was going to do. And then this comes through. So fantastic news. And I've had some great calls with people. And that would be people that are working around in the background, not people necessarily on the Discord, but stuff that they give really great information, but they just kind of want to remain in the background, but they're working awful hard, like real hard. And so my hat's off to them. My hat's off to everybody. And this is a huge day. I don't have 100% faith. I'll temper it with that. I don't have 100% faith in the public inquiry, and how that manifests itself is going to be interesting, but it's a win. First of all, like on so many levels. First of all, if we get any information at all, this will help everybody else start to find the other things that are going around that the government clearly wants to bury very hard, but the people won. Right? They're terrified. No matter how much they want to bury their garbage, we win. So this is a big win in that area, which means something much greater, something much, much greater. The mentality possibly might change here a little bit, where, no, we can't snow you as much as we thought before because people will get pissed off. And we better start really caring about people because that's what we're supposed to do. Just saying. Okay. So, I do want to say an extra special thank you to the people in the background working real hard, because they're doing awesome stuff, and they're doing it for nothing other than that. They don't want to be known at all. So fantastic. And of course, huge thank you to you, all of you. So let's see. Should we do the CBC? What do you think they're going to try and indoctrinate with? How about we'll go with Saltwire? That seems a little bit more local. Full public inquiry into Nova Scotia mass shooting announced. And of course, we had the shift, right? This is how this has all changed so quickly. We went from public review. We're going to announce the review as soon as you do the protest. Oh yeah, right. We're here for you. We've got the review, and then the backlash started. No review. Oh, okay, fine. We'll do an inquiry, but it's onto the federal government, and we'll lay the buck off there. And I was like, look what they're doing. But enough backlash, and I'm going to play Paul, I want to play a few things. So Rick Howe had an excellent show this morning, and thank you for telling me, because of course I don't know these things, and there's so much I don't know. I don't know my name half the time, but somebody was like, Rick Howe did 2 hours, and I haven't heard it, so I thought we could listen to it together and listen to the outrage from people. How did we come to this point? How did we get to where we are today? Full public inquiry into Nova Scotia mass shooting announced. Hope nobody's burning up down there, by the way, because it's just so hot. Hot all across the country, I heard. But 41 down on the East Coast with humidity. I said to somebody, it makes me very jealous, because and envious. I want to be back in that. I love that. That's where in Vietnam I loved the heat and the humidity. Halifax, Nova Scotia, federal government bowed to public pressure. Bowed to public pressure. Should they not be listening to the people? Late Tuesday afternoon, and is now calling for a full public inquiry into Nova Scotia mass shootings. Do you know how hard they worked to try to not have the inquiry? Very easy. It was already written in 1985. It just would have been like, okay, that's what we're going to do. No, they're trying to hide and get people to think about the feminist side and all this other stuff, which is not related. I'm sorry, it isn't. If the families want to come out and say, yeah, we're behind the femicide stuff, I'll do whatever the hell they want. So even if I disagree with it, but that's not what it's about. It's about 22 families, and it's about an entire province. And funnily enough, it's about an entire country that has been gravely affected by this. But the 22 families is the focus. Keep your eye on the target. The Minister of Public Safety and Emergency Preparedness, Bill Blair, oh, he looked good the other day, made the announcement on social media. We've heard the call from family survivors, advocates, and Nova Scotia members of Parliament for more transparency. And you didn't win? When they said, we know about families, but we're not going to do that. That was almost literally verbatim what he said. Bill Blair's Twitter statement said, oh, good. Here we go. Paper. Got to have it on paper. Not just speak to people like a human being. The government of Canada is now proceeding with full inquiry under the authority of the Inquiries Act 1985. Surprise. They've had it around for a long time. Into the tragedy that occurred April 18th and 19th. The statement said that this will include the power to summon witnesses. Yay, this is a win. And require them to give evidence under oath or solemn affirmation to produce, quote, such documents and things that the commissioners deem requisite to the full investigation of the matters into which they are appointed to examine. This was a big problem with the sham that they tried to pass off, was that they couldn't summon anybody. So you could just say, well, I don't feel like going today. No problem. Do you think the RCMP were going to do that? That's a guarantee. Anybody who was involved in the story that could have had a negative impact upon politicians, RCMP, other police facilities, whatever, well, of course, they're just not going to go. And also, they didn't have to tell the truth. Like I said, I've shown evidence before where the RCMP has openly lied in an inquiry, but it's a win. It's a win, and it's bringing the public attention. We got to stay focused with this one. Hey, Don. Oh, hitters, what you doing, buddy? Karen. Paul. Didn't understand your message you sent me to me, Paul. Truth. Little Miss So. Maya. Okay, Jen. I don't think I've seen Jen before. Yeah, I'm going to play that. And Sheldon also, I had that lined up. Hey, I'm way ahead of you. I'm way ahead of you. Look, I already had it all queued up, and the Sheldon, and yeah, I was going to go into all of that. Zan totally swapped her mind. Oh my God. The same trio named earlier to lead the panel review will now serve as commissioners on the public inquiry. See, this is where we're going to have a problem. J. Michael McDonald, Anne McClellan, and Leanne Finch. Uh-oh. Keep pushing. Got to keep pushing. Patsy Bagley, whose husband Tom Bagley, a retired firefighter and Navy veteran, thanks for serving our country and your community, was killed when he tried to help the gunman after the gunman set his neighbor's house on fire in West Wentworth. She said that she was extremely happy with the decision. These people, got to dig into these people. Okay? This is important. We have to watch these people. That's why they're in incarnation 2.0. 2.0 now. So we're going to just move them over. You think there's a reason? Of course there is. Of course there is. I'm very happy about the news. I'll tell you that, she said, contacted on Tuesday, because I think we deserve it as families. Yeah, that's what we wanted. We wanted questions answered, and maybe, she knows, maybe now we will. She said her daughter told her the good news. Quote, if you would have heard my daughter's voice, she's quite happy too. And I'm sure we're not the only ones. That's coming from all the family members, I'm sure. Quote, we needed something like this to try and cheer us up a bit. I'll tell you, this is one of the biggest, I'm most elated in a long time. Probably a very long time. Earlier Tuesday, before Blair's announcement, the Nova Scotia Liberal government said it will support a full public inquiry into the events surrounding the April's mass shooting, providing the federal government comes on board. So that we started with that buck passing. This is where I was actually going to start off my show. But people got pissed. You got to keep getting pissed. Take the power back. Misfit. Nova Scotia citizen. Cement. Brian. Howdy, guys. I've heard from family members and many Nova Scotians who are opposed to the joint review on the tragic events of 18th and 19th and would prefer a joint public inquiry. Mark Fury, Nova Scotia Minister of Justice and Attorney General, and 32-year ex-RCMP, 36-year ex-RCMP, said in a news release issued Tuesday afternoon. And you got to issue the news release. Can't just talk to the people. Listen, don't got to hide in your cubby holes. Quote, if the federal government agrees to a public joint inquiry where federal agencies, including the RCMP, Canada Border Surveillance Agency, Criminal Intelligence Service Canada, CSIS, Canadian Firearms Registry, and Public Alert Ready System will participate and offer testimony, I will support that. And so will our government. But you didn't the other day. None of you did. None of you did. In fact, you openly even flaunted it. Not going to, absolutely not going to. Sorry. Doesn't matter what the families want. I can just disclose that to you. The family thing, the meeting that they had with the families, total sham. The about face comes following public protests and growing chorus of voices calling for the public inquiry instead of the joint independent review. This is just the joint bullshit, whatever they want to call it. Don't call it this. This wasn't it. Bullshit. Announced last week by Furry and Blair. A three-member panel had been named to assess the issues surrounding the gunman who killed 22 people before being fatally shot himself by an RCMP officer. I think we got to wait on all of this. Fact. because we're drawing facts from who? The RCMP, who have clearly lied all over. The review was also intended to look at the involvement of, gender-based issues and intimate partner violence. Some of this is going to start to pour out. Some of it's going to start to pour out. Okay? I'll just leave it at that. As well as the RCMP's response to the shootings and the way information was subsequently shared with family members and victims. That would be not shared with families and families at all. Not shared. That like button is lonely. Are you pumping likes for me? That's nice. I just, how about likes? How about likes just for the public inquiry? When? Other than the 3 that just move over. But the review did not carry the same authority to subpoena witness or the type of transparency that would have included in a public inquiry. Yeah, they just wanted to hide everything. We'll tell you what we want to. Don't have to tell you anything. Quote now, a member of federal MPs have come out against their own government's decision to participate in a joint review. Furry continued in the release. If the federal MPs agree that the government should conduct a public inquiry rather than a review, they should take that up with the federal minister and their colleagues. Didn't jump ship. To jump ship, they all did. Here we go with who? Anybody who lives down there. I've spoken to so many people, and they are absolutely livid with Lenore. Livid. Even people who are liberals. Pissed. Lenore Zan, your career is gone. You really made a bad decision because you wanted to toe the RCMP federal cover-up line. Now you're going to watch the people throw you on the street. Sorry about that one. The messages that were being sent to her and Furry. The protest that happened outside his office, I think, was the clincher on this one. And before I get too far, please, I must encourage and implore you. Please, if you know something, anything, come forward. We can do it confidential. You can point me in the right direction. Something. Anything helps in this matter. And people have been coming forward now. But this helps, right? This is what is going to really get these wheels turning. Okay? So there's information below. Contact any of the people listed, the email listed below. I will try my best to get back to you. Steve is a bit out of commission right now, and dealing with his own stuff. Hi, Blue. How's it going? Blue helped us early on. You know, this is and still helping us. All the people who have really been pulling their weight, busting their ass to get this done, don't stop. Don't let up, because this is not over. You got to be prepared for the long haul. Make sure you're rested and well fed and all of that, because this is going to get messy. It will get messy, but you want the truth. This is what we got to do. Quote, I welcome that. I'm happy to see Mark Furry making the statement, Zan said. I'm not sure what came first, the chicken or the egg. Who knows what happens behind closed doors? Oh, she knows. She knew. Whoop. There you go. Bing. Bing. This one's going to start to come out. And that gender thing will disappear. And we'll get back to the focus. The focus. Families. That's it. If they want a gender thing, good. I haven't heard from one of them yet that said that. I think it's just wonderful if the province and feds come together to do a joint public inquiry in the largest mass shooting in the history of Canada. Oh my Lord. That is absolutely bullshit. If she has no shred, she doesn't have a shred of character, this person, because she totally swapped. She's like, oh, it's not going to happen. This is all about this other stuff, the review. Now she's like, oh yeah, I love it. And let's come up with the legislation that will let change and make things better and safer for rural Nova Scotia in particular, so that this never happens again. You were going to let it happen again. You were trying to pave it so that it did. Zahn said she has twice written Blair outlining her shared concerns with the area and constituents and the victim's family without response. That is, to the best of my knowledge, that's bullshit. 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 Sorry. I don't have my change up here. No, you did not, ma'am. No, you did not. You were fully on board, and now you're saying, oh, I didn't sign my name to that. Yeah. But after having 90-minute face-to-face meeting with Prime Minister Justin Trudeau in his hole, Nova Scotia Caucus Liaison Representative last Sunday, Zahn said now she knows the stated concerns have been delivered to the top. Well, now she knows. What news? What news? Hey, Jill. Hey, Jill. Yeah, absolutely. This person has nothing. They're not worth a piss in the pot. I'm sorry. On any of these politicians, they sold their souls. All of them. Quote, she wanted to hear everything about this and what the Prime Minister needed to know, Zahn said of the meeting. I know that was taken back to him, and I know the meeting has taken place, so I am cautiously optimistic that the cries and the needs of my constituents in particular, which includes families, have been heard. I know he's a compassionate man, and he wants to do the right thing. I'm very cautiously optimistic that we will get what they want. Sorry to intersplice my opinions. That's a load. They all of them, all senators, politicians, irrespective of party, doesn't matter. They were in on the fix to try to get rid of this. Disgusting individuals. But they have no conscience. They have none. She didn't listen to her constituents were the shit. She let them die. Progressive Conservative leader Tim Houston, however, was less generous in Furey's changed position. Quote, Minister Furey is now suggesting that the federal government will agree the province will commit to an inquiry, he said in his own news release. Not an interview. What the minister isn't telling you is that the province has the authority to call the full public inquiry without the federal government to get the answers, he said, adding that the Fatality Investigations Act reads, which actually I'm quasi-familiar with from some other stuff to do with terror, sadly. The autopsies, never given. And as soon as I was like, habeas corpus, boom, put that in the memo, habeas corpus. Oh, there was shit hitting the fan. Oh, no, we cremated the body. Sorry about that. And actually, the RCMP has the autopsies. When a family member demands an autopsy, it is incumbent upon them to turn that over. They didn't. And they still haven't. Nobody has one. You're going to know why. The bullets. Minister Furey is now suggesting the federal government will agree. The province will commit to the inquiry, he said in his own inquiry. Oh, sorry. So it could have been called before, where the minister is satisfied that the fatal inquiry is in the public interest or the interest of the public safety. The minister may order that the inquiry be held. Of course they did. Just passing the buck, shitting, giving you the pipe and shit through you. I'm sorry for my foul language. It's just true. You know, it's just true. I don't actually, I do feel bad, but I don't. My grandmother would have probably given me a tongue lashing, but maybe not. I don't know. She is a very, very polite woman, but she did understand who I was. Houston said that he is urging the premier not to wait for the participation of the federal government, but to immediately call the public inquiry on its own merits. I had a tweet about that, funnily enough, just before this all started. Where was that? I was a little upset. Where is it? Don't let up. These bastards are squirrely and cannot be trusted. Oh, it should be B. Wow, my English terrible. They will worm and squirm. Hold them accountable. They have been working overtime since 10:01, April 18th, 2020. Answers now. No. Not waiting for this balls. When the family phones and they say, I want to know something, you fucking tell them. Period. You have a press conference. If the reporters say they're finished, then you can go home. You're dismissed. Not, we're shutting it down. We're done here. Foul behavior. Priorities all out the window here. This would allow for testimony to be heard under oath and would grant the power to compel witness testimony, he said. And despite the mouths promises of the provincial liberals to justice would be done, Houston said, it was a slap to the face of the victims' families and all Nova Scotian and all Canada when it decided to conduct a review instead of an inquiry. I was going to go through it and read it. Like I brought them up. I wanted to read it. Maybe I should still. I don't know. We'll see. Just so you can see what a bunch of shit it was. It was all about burying it. That's what they spent. Drafting all that time. Just so they could bury. How do we bury the best possible? Well, we don't compel people. They don't have to tell the truth. We don't have to release any information. It's just a bury. It was a bury sham. All these people need to go. Oh, I lost 3 viewers. I guess I'm pissing them off. Quote, it's disappointing that it's taking public pressure. Who? Taxpayers? You, me, their boss is for the Liberal government to realize how wrong they were, but I hope that it's now obvious and that they reverse their decision, the opposition leader said, adding that it's time for Premier Stephen McNernal, vomit, Furry, RCMP, and Blair, RCMP. They all have relatives that are RCMP Furry, though, specifically. Quote, both the federal and provincial Liberal governments to stop playing politics and do the right thing. Well, what is this arsehead doing? He's playing politics too. Don't believe a fucking word of these people's mouths. Don't. It's over. Done. They're all liars. When you want to get to that position, you lie. That's how you get it. You sold your soul. So if it was them in the office, it's still going to be the same shit. Provincial NDP leader Gary Burhill agreed in his own response to Furry's statement. Oh, great, they're throwing pies now. Quote, for the past 3 months, the Liberal government has failed to take action on the need for the public inquiry into the mass shooting April 19th, 1819. He said, to say today, only after a major public outcry, which should continue. Tomorrow, there is another big protest down at the ferry terminal to the legislature. I encourage everybody to go. Anybody who is going, please hit me up, send me a private message somewhere so that we can do it on the Facebergs or something, and then we can play it for everybody else, because all of Canada is behind these people. Get your friends, relatives, get them in on this. Come on. These families need you. Be a human being. Be good. Of course you're human beings. You're great people. The Liberal government's continued resistance to the public inquiry has been called by legal experts, organization addressing domestic violence to the public and families of those whose lives were lost. These people, these ones, they have their own agendas. If you study what they're getting paid, the promotions that they're getting, who they are, you'll see the answers. First post in the docs cord I made was about McDonald and Sarson's group. And this is way back. I'm like, these people, sketchy. The public and families of those whose lives were lost is both perplexing and disappointing. It's within the power of the provincial government to call the public for the public inquiry. They should do so without delay. Zan, however, said, regardless of what it eventually takes to reach the consensus for a full public inquiry is required, the most important point is that it proceed. Well, she changed her tune. I don't know. She's like a feather in the wind. All right, now, I was going to read this article, where Furry, of course, is trying to bullshit some more so that they can just hide all of their garbage. Please, please talk to your family and your friends about this. I know many of you are. This is important. The ramifications of this are so great, huge, as in people in these positions of power, RCMP, whatever, should be running in fear from you if you're upset with them. And that's why, because you're their boss. If you say something, you get it. Period. End of story, or they're fired. Out of here. Boom! My name, 604, fuck Google. I like that name. 604, is he from BC? Police should be banned from carrying any and all forms of weapons, and the people should be mandated to carry. That's an interesting theory. It's definitely an interesting theory. I don't think the government's bosses will allow that, of course, but it's an interesting theory. How many of the murders and things like that are committed with police weapons that are lost? The 800 and some odd RCMP, because of course those are going to be used for legal purposes, don't you know, like target shooting and whatever else. Come on. These people can't even track their own guns. You know that in, I think it's Iceland, Greenland, maybe both, in some European countries, they keep the guns in the safe, in the trunk, and they have to phone into the office and say why they need the gun. And then they get a code. It's kind of like the way a nuclear thing works. You got to get okay to use them. They don't want you to have any power. That's the whole point. Now, I wanted to listen to the Rick Howe. Thank you again for the tip from somebody about the Rick Howe program, because he dedicated himself to getting this done today, to raising awareness, and this is incumbent upon us. Also, you know, there's action. Action is important. Words and likes and Facebooks and immunity behind the Facebook page, hashtags and changing your avatar doesn't mean shit, man. If you got to put your money where your mouth is, and this, funnily enough, if what I was told was true on Rick Howe, really, I don't think I can think of it. He dedicated himself to this, man, to this part, and hats off to him. Hats off to him. Paul Palango also was on Laura Lynn. I was just watching that when this came in. Okay, let's fire this up. Please let me know. Please let me know if for RCMP, or New Brunswick. New Brunswick. That's where this is going to come out of. I'm pretty certain. Okay. If the sound is not good, please let me know. I will not interrupt. How's that? Okay? I'll try my best. I'm only as good as my word. Yeah, then I shouldn't interrupt. All right, because I want to listen and get a good feel too. So let me know about the sound, please. And huge congratulations to you, to all of the great reporters who are doing their job, not trying to fucking bury shit. All right. This was like a secret he announced yesterday. He's like, I'm going to dedicate something tomorrow.
Hope your 28th day of July is off to a great start so far this morning. It is 10:06 right now. Another hot, muggy day ahead of us today. Hi, and welcome to the second hour of our show this morning. I'm Rick Howe with you until 12:30 this afternoon. And here's what's ahead on the show for you today. It's your turn now this morning to sound off. We've got not one, but two straight open hours ahead. It is time now for Talk Back Tuesday. Here are the numbers to call.
Thank you.
902-405-6000.
Thank you.
Or 1-877-801-8255. After the news at noon, Paige McPherson with the Canadian Taxpayers Federation will tell us about their new report that finds Atlantic Canadians are at a tax disadvantage with our neighbors in the New England states. And we'll go to the movies this afternoon with the Chronicle Herald's arts and entertainment reporter, Stephen Cook. But this hour, we want to hear what's on your mind this morning. Anything goes from now until noon. Here again, the numbers to call, 902-405-6000 or 1-877-801-8255. Well, there are growing calls by Nova Scotians demanding a public inquiry, not the review ordered by the province last week, but a public inquiry into the mid-April murder spree that left 22 Nova Scotians dead. Let's hear from you this morning. For it's only when we speak as one voice will we get the message across to this premier of ours. So give me a call here this morning. Is a review sufficient? Maybe you think it is. Let's hear your explanation. Or do you agree with an increasing number of Nova Scotians who are outraged with the review and demanding a public inquiry? Sam, we're going to play this clip here in a moment. The premier in 2013, when opposition leader spoke in favor of a public inquiry into the Nova Scotia Home for Colored Children, while the NDP government of the day was asking for a review. Here's what the premier had to say.
And the premier knows that the panel put together by his government does not allow the voices of those victims to be heard, and it does not have, Mr. Speaker, the legal requirement to force people to testify at a public inquiry to ensure that Nova Scotians know exactly what happened, and the premier knows.
That's, again, Stephen McNeil, when he was opposition leader in 2013, again, demanding a public inquiry rather than a review, as was being proposed by the NDP government. So here we are today in 2020. It seems that well, things have reversed. 902-405-6000 or 1-877-801-8255. And here's what else I'd like you to do for me this morning here. Send Premier McNeil a message loud and clear. I'm going to give you a phone number and an email address. And I urge you this morning to call or write the premier. I call this a phone attack. We've done this in the past with great success in getting our message out to people who make the decisions. So I think the premier needs to know just what Nova Scotians are saying, what they're thinking in regards to a public inquiry versus a review, which his government has ordered. Keep your message short and simple. Something like, I'm a Nova Scotian who's demanding a public inquiry. No swearing, no rants, just a short and to the point demand for a public inquiry. So I want you to either call the premier's office. Here's the number, 902, of course, 424-6600. And I'm counting on thousands of you.
I guess I can't
overwhelm them. Swamp their office with your demands for a public inquiry. 902-424-6600. Or write an email. Send it to premier@novascotia.ca. premier@novascotia.ca. This is how we can do our part to convince this government that it made a mistake with this review. Let the premier know you want an inquiry, a full and independent inquiry that will give the review panel, or the panel, I guess, the ability to subpoena witnesses who will then be forced to testify under oath. That's the only way we're going to get to the bottom of this, the only way we're going to find out all of the answers to all of the questions that are hanging out there. So again, call the premier's office, 902-424-6600, or write the premier's office, premier@novascotia.ca. Keep it simple, keep it short. You demand a public inquiry into the massacre. 902-405-6000 or 1-877-801-8255 is my number. Got a couple of other little possibilities we could talk about here this morning. There's lots more we can get into, from shopping malls and mandatory masks in spaces like malls and grocery stores, office buildings, churches. It's mandatory as of Friday, but there's no enforcement plans. So my question to you this morning is, will you wear a mask? A new survey says more than half of Canadians do plan to send their kids back to school in September, but there are increasing worries about a COVID outbreak. How about you? Do you feel it's safe to send your kids back to class in September? And Prime Minister Justin Trudeau will testify Thursday before the Commons Finance Committee on the WE scandal. Surveys suggest the Prime Minister's popularity has taken a hit over this scandal. It's dropped by about 10 points. But at 44%, he's still comfortably ahead of the Conservatives. But 56% of Canadians, according to this new Leger survey, do not think this scandal threatens the Trudeau government's minority situation. 32% think it could bring the government down, but 56% think, no, it'll pass. Those are some of the topics we might get into this morning, but anything goes this hour and next. It is time now for Talkback Tuesday. Call me 902-405-6000 or 1-877-801-8255. And let's get talking. And Tyler is going to lead us off here this morning. Hi, Tyler.
Morning. How are you this morning?
I'm doing very well. What's your stand on this inquiry versus a review?
Well, firstly, I think the review is going to have no effect, if anything, moving forward. I do think we need an inquiry. And I guess there was a comment that you were talking with the fellow there this morning about it. And he suggested that maybe, the Premier McNeil doesn't have the leverage to put against the Feds to actually bring this thing about. And I couldn't help but wonder, it wasn't that long ago, wasn't the whole country saying, okay, this is terrible. We're all with Nova Scotia. We all support you. But why doesn't he appeal to them? Like, if that is what, Trudeau's doing,
yeah.
If Trudeau's throwing them under the bus and saying, we're not going to support you because we're too embarrassed or what have you, well, tit for tat, throw him under the bus. Appeal to the whole country and say, look, this is what he's doing. We need your support to help us now to, bring this inquiry about. I mean, we may only have so many seats in the Parliament, but if you get the whole country talking, well, that's all the seats, right?
Well, and that's what Parker said last hour. He said, let's see McNeil show a little fortitude here. And if indeed that's the reason why a public inquiry was not decided because of pressure from the federal government, why didn't, if that is the case, Stephen McNeil could easily have gone public and said the reason we're doing this is because we're being forced to by the federal government. He hasn't said that. To me, he's in cahoots with the feds on this. Both of them have joined together in an effort to keep information from Nova Scotians. I think it's that simple.
Yeah. And it's sad, isn't it?
It is.
That's the state we're at.
Yeah, it is.
That was my 2 cents. It just seems so strange to me that, for a man who, as you pointed out earlier, X number of years ago, to push and push and push for an inquiry, it seems weird that he could just, flip a coin and, now you don't need it.
Yeah.
Because now you need it, you need the fast answer, not the right answer. So
Appreciate the call, Tyler. Thanks very much. And again, let me urge people to call the Premier's office, 424-6600, 902-424-6600, or write an email, premier@novascotia.ca. Let the Premier and his government know just what you think about this review. Oh, and good morning to you.
Hi.
Hi, Owen.
How are you?
I'm well, sir. How about yourself?
Good, sir. Just a couple of quick points, okay? There was a public inquiry, okay, into the Donnie Marshall case.
Yes, there was.
Okay. Everything came out. And also, okay, I know for a fact, okay, that the chief of police at the time, when he was a beat cop, was well known for picking locks and going into stores. But anyway, that's beside the point. Why not? If Donnie Marshall, okay, spent, and I'm not Aboriginal, if Donnie Marshall spent 11, 12 years in jail being wrongfully convicted, and there was a public inquiry, and now you are talking about a mass murder here in Nova Scotia,
yeah,
and they are not going to have a public inquiry, something is wrong in Kosherville.
No question, and again, it leads to the suspicion, the belief that many Nova Scotians had that they're hiding something here. They don't want something to come out. They don't want information that could be damning to the RCMP, damning to the province, damning to the federal government. They don't want that information out. What is that information?
Oh, it's
and
big.
Why are they trying to hide it? That's again what I think is driving most people right now in demanding a public inquiry. Suspicion that the province, the feds, the RCMP are hiding something from us.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And the only way to get it out is a public inquiry. And I feel if the people of Nova Scotia, okay, do not stand up for their rights now, we've lost it.
I agree. Thanks for the call, Owen. And again, I urge you to call the Premier's office or send them an email and let them know your thoughts on this review versus an inquiry. That number, again, for the Premier's office, 902-424-6600. And again, I'm hoping thousands of you. I know that, on any given day, there are literally tens of thousands of people listening to this radio program. I'll ask you, is there a few thousand of you? I mean, all of you would be great. But if a few thousand of you would call that number, 902-424-6600, or send an email, premier@novascotia.ca. I think we'll get the message across to the Premier of Nova Scotia and his government about the error of their ways. Bill, so they are coming up. It's 10:16. We've got lots of people on hold. A couple of lines are open here this morning as well. If you've got something to say, give us a call. We'll be back with more right after this quick break. 10:18 on a Tuesday morning. Rick just emailed to say, just who does the government work for anyway? We are the people. We want an inquiry rights, Rick. Colin just emailed to say he's sent an email off to the Premier's office. He's doing his part by sending this email.
Hey, Colin.
Now do your part to call for a full, open, binding, transparent public inquiry. Christina says she's called the Premier's office with the phone number I gave out this morning.
Hey,
they're not
Christina.
answering the phone. Surprise there. But you can also leave a message. And Christina says she left a message saying that she wants an inquiry. And there'll come a point where the Premier's office phone line, the message machine will be loaded up, and I've got another number when we reach that point. So if you call, let me know if you're still able to leave a message, and if their message machine is full, I've got another number we can call just to again.
You mean our machine?
Of the government.
Our machine is full.
To see a full, independent public inquiry, not a review. Bill, good morning to you.
Morning, sir.
How you doing?
Not too bad, Rick. Not too bad.
Just hang on a second here. I just got an email from Suzanne who says she phoned in, his mailbox is already full. So she also got a form letter back from email. So I'm going to give out another number here in a little bit, Bill, just to continue to the phone attack on the Premier's office. But again, it seems that a lot of people are calling, and so that's good. I applaud your efforts and continue to put the pressure on. Sorry, Bill. Go ahead, you this morning.
I wanted to talk about the German settlers down in Cape Breton.
The far right, some are calling them Nazis even.
Well, I think that, well, first of all, I used to go to tax sales down there in Fort Hood, Inverness County. And gradually over the years, Germans were coming in and they were buying up properties like farms and so on that nobody was bothering with. There's a lot of property down there that was just surplus. The locals didn't seem to want to bother with it. I can attest to that because of going to the tax sale and buying properties. And the Germans bought quite a few farms and properties, and they're working the farms and properties. And I don't know why this is all of a sudden coming up. I think they're solid people.
Boom.
Sure, maybe some of them maybe
like
Hitler or something, but
Yeah, Bill, you're absolutely nuts. Have you lost your mind completely? So, I'm speechless. I am to think that you think that it's what's that? It's the fact that you say that. So what if they like Hitler? I mean, what do you mean? So what if they like Hitler, Bill? I mean, really? Come on now.
You managed to find something, don't you?
Well, I mean, you just said something absolutely ridiculous there. So a bunch of Hitler lovers are buying up land. Big deal, you said. I mean, it is a big deal, Bill. It is.
Okay, you got a point, I guess, Rick.
Well, thank you.
But I mean, what I'm saying is, I don't know, they're either what we call geology or whatever the heck you call it, but I'm saying these are solid people and they're doing a good job down there. So I don't know why they're...
Not all of them are solid people, apparently. Some of them are, again, right-wing extremists who are looking to create a colony of like extremists, like-minded extremists in Cape Breton. And that's alarmed many people in Cape Breton. And rightfully so. And again, if this is indeed what's happening, I'm not saying all Germans. I know a lot of Germans have bought property down on the South Shore as well, and just cheap land and an ability to get away from a crowded Germany and enjoy the peace and tranquility of Canada and Nova Scotia. That's fine. But if, again, there are these ideologues, these right-wing extremists who are doing this, Bill, that we should all be alarmed by this. We all should be alarmed.
Yeah, but I think you're pushing it too far, Rick. I mean, you're not sure. It's not out
me,
there.
Bill. It's not me. It's Der Spiegel magazine, which is the leading German news magazine. It's like Time magazine of Germany. They're the ones that brought this, opened up this story here. They're the ones that revealed what is going on. And now it's been picked up by other media around the world, and it's alarmed many residents of Cape Breton. So, again, I think that we need the province to check into this, and if indeed these are Nazi supporters, then we need to do something about that.
Rick, you're innocent until proved guilty. We don't know for sure what's going on there yet, but my little experience, I've never had a problem or seen any problem with them.
All right. Well, listen, I appreciate the call. Thank you very much. Let's go next to Shelley here this morning. Hi, Shelley.
Hi, Rick. How are you?
Good. And your thoughts on the inquiry, Shelley? Have you tried to call the Premier's office yet?
Not yet, because I'm waiting for you.
Okay.
I have a question. Like, I'm not real good with legal things and terminology and whatnot, but I'm wondering, is the difference between having an inquiry as opposed to the review means that the people will get a donation, like there will be compensation for them. Is that the only difference between a review and an inquiry? If they have an inquiry, the people who are hurt or the families will get a
No, the answer to your question is no. This review or an inquiry will not determine any compensation for the victims. That would come out of the class action lawsuit that some family members,
and there's multiple. Keep pushing more of them.
So that's a whole separate issue here. That's something that'll go through the courts for perhaps even years. What the difference right now between a review and an inquiry is that an inquiry would enable the people heading up the inquiry to subpoena witnesses who would then be forced to testify under oath and answer some of the many questions that are lingering, that are hanging over our heads in regards to this. An inquiry would require or would allow the calling of witnesses, subpoenaed witnesses who would then have to testify under oath. A review does none of that. There's the big difference. There's the big difference.
It doesn't result in compensation from the government.
No, that's an issue that'll be resolved by the courts in a class action lawsuit that again could take some time before that is resolved. So,
okay.
Yeah.
Thank you, Rick.
Not a problem, Shelley. Give the Premier's office a call. Another person just said that the voicemail box down at the Premier's office is full.
Hello, sir.
You can still send an email. Again, the email address is premier@novascotia.ca. But if you got a pen out, I've got a different number here for you today. It's the Premier's constituency office in Middleton. It's a long distance call, but it only cost you a couple of pennies, really. 902-825-2093. 902-825-2093. That's Premier Stephen McNeil's constituency office in Middleton. 902-825-2093. Give them a little dose of Nova Scotia anger. Let the office know that we are demanding a public inquiry. And again, the Premier's email address, premier@novascotia.ca. Len, good morning to you. Good morning, Len. Hello, Len. I'll put Len on hold and let's see. Patrick is there. Hi, Patrick.
Hey, Rick, I sent my email off to him. I just kept it short and sweet.
Yeah, that's all we want. And we don't want people to, get all worked up and, big rant or, curse words or anything like that. Just a short, simple message. We demand a public inquiry.
There you go, Jack.
Conduct a full public inquiry.
Right on, Jack.
Good. That's exactly what we need. The
Drop
Premier,
some on Trudeau,
Nova
too.
Scotia to hear from we Nova Scotia.
Lucky.
So,
They're all silent in the background. Lucky.
Public, look what's happening in the States. The public loses trust in their justice system and their police.
Yep.
It's not going to be pretty if he stands firm on this.
Well, and another thing, again, it wasn't so long ago we saw that poll out that put the Premier's support at 77%. Well, we just saw what the WE scandal has done to Justin Trudeau's popularity. He's lost 10 points. He's dropped from 56 to 44% right now.
I don't know how
the
this
Premier
guy
stands to lose a lot of support as well if he sticks to his guns and holds to a review as opposed to an inquiry. He puts his re-election chances at some risk, I would think.
It's not being accountable. It's time they got back to the legislature.
Yeah.
I mean, they don't mind imposing rules on us. So listen, we hired you. We pay your salaries, the public taxation. So get back to work in the legislature and start
said, Pat. Good to hear from you. 10:28 is our time. Again, the number for the Premier's constituency office in Middleton, 902-825-2093. 902-825-2093. Call the office. Let them know you demand an inquiry. The Premier's email, premier@novascotia.ca. Send them a note as well. Call us. Let me know how you made out. Did you get a response at all? 902-405-6000 is our number. 1-877-801-8255 is the toll-free number. We're going to take a quick break for a news update. We've got a number of people on hold. Some lines are open. Who's two here this morning? Give us a call. We'll be back with more of your calls after a news update. It's coming up next. 10:32 here on a Tuesday morning. Talk Back Tuesday underway till noontime. An hour more and a half to go here. Anything goes between now and noon. All you have to do is give us a call at 902-405-6000 or 1-877-801-8255. We've also launched a phone attack on the Premier.
Yay!
To encourage the Premier to recognize the error of his ways.
All of them. Bill Blair,
review, we're demanding
Lucky,
a public inquiry
Trudeau,
into the mid-April shooting rampage. I've given numbers out for the Premier's office, 424-6600. Apparently, we quickly filled out their voicemail box. I gave out the number for the Premier's constituency office, 825-2093. That's a long-distance number. It's in Middleton, 902-825-2093. I just called that number, and that mailbox is full as well. Here's another number. It's a 1-800 number, 267-1993, 1-800-267-1993. That gets your message to the Premier. Just say, we demand
19,000.
inquiry. That's
any of you on the Facebook?
No swearing.
This is a good group. Nova Scotians for a public inquiry.
Message. We demand a public inquiry. And again, that number, 1-800.
I'm going to share.
267-1993.
How do you do
this? Also email the Premier.
I don't want it on my timeline.
Again, let them know. Swap their office. Give them a call. Send them an email. Let them know that Nova Scotians are outraged. We want a public inquiry. All right, let's see if Len's there now. Good morning, Len.
Oh.
Hello, Len. Your last opportunity here, buddy. Len, good morning.
They don't like my name.
All right. See you later, buddy. Sorry about that. Blair, good morning to you.
Good morning, Rick. How you doing, Smart?
I'm doing fine, Blair. How you doing this morning?
Not too bad. I know out there in the public there's more confusion on a review and an inquiry.
Yeah.
And any of your listeners are confused. Is it just bring up on YouTube?
Thank you, Kathy.
The RCMP news conference on the 11th of May. If they think that that was accurate, then a review would be good for those people. But if you don't believe that was the truth what they were saying, then we need an inquiry, and that would stop the confusion.
Careful, Todd. You might drop too much truth.
A review does not allow the panel to compel witnesses to testify under oath. An inquiry would give them the ability to subpoena witnesses, who would force witnesses to testify under oath. There's the big difference right there, and that's how you get to the truth with a public inquiry.
Like I say, 30 days after the fact, they gave a news conference on what they believe happened, and there was a word brought up there I never heard before. They said that the shooter had injustice. He was an injustice collector.
Oh my God!
That's why this all happened, and I just couldn't believe it. The news conference, but if you can take it, YouTube their news conference and see what you think of that again, and then you'll be able to make up your mind for an inquiry or a review.
Yeah, no, good point.
Right on, sir.
Again, let me
it's a
pass
total
this
sham.
on to the Premier's office, 1-800-267-1993. Urge everybody to call that number or email the premier@novascotia.ca. Let them know what you think about a review.
Yeah, I called it right away and got through. I hope everybody keeps on that number.
I encourage everybody.
Appreciate the call, Blair. Thanks. And
phone.
To push this
drop your emails on your MP, on the Trudeau,
by now, 424-6600,
on all of them.
424-6600.
Lucky,
keep the heat
use
on
the
these
Twitter,
people. Keep the
blow
heat
it up.
on the Premier. Let them know you're angry. You
blow them up.
A full
And the removal of those three people.
Let's go to Jim next to this morning. Hi, Jim.
How are you doing today?
I'm doing just fine, sir. How are you doing this morning?
I'm for a full public inquiry. However, I don't like the way you're putting it across.
How come?
Well, you seem to be telling people there's a conspiracy by the RCMP to hide stuff.
What I'm suggesting is that is there a conspiracy? And if there isn't a conspiracy,
Oh my! I said I wasn't going to interrupt, but I have a feeling this man is RCMP or has some RCMP in his family or something.
Conspiracy, then why not hold a public inquiry? That would get to the bottom of things, would it not?
And you've hung up on me quite a few times, and I hope you're not going to at this moment. But
who wouldn't want to know the answers?
People with conspiracy theories, and I think you have one now about the RCMP.
Well, I think there's a big difference between the conspiracy theory that China created the coronavirus to, again, put a plague on the Western world. Those are the kind of conspiracy theories that are absolutely outrageous. This one, however, has got some legs to stand on. There are enough questions right now, Jim, about the RCMP role in this, their association with the gunman. And I think, that, again, that's why a public inquiry is needed.
The RCMP just put out new information here a little while ago.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
New disinformation.
Smuggling and that. And
drugs and guns.
So they're doing their investigation. I think the public investigation should wait until the RCMP have done their investigation.
Oh, they're
well, we don't know when the RCMP will finish that investigation. It could take months, if not years yet, to wrap it up. And again, the bottom line here for a review versus an inquiry is that a inquiry, Jim, will compel witnesses to testify under oath. So we can ask the RCMP. The RCMP has the right now, according to the courts, the RCMP has the right to lie to us. Right, you know, in regards to an informant, for example.
According to
that's not according to him, Jim. That's just a fact of life, Jim. Right now, the RCMP has the ability to publicly lie about whether someone is a confidential informant, unless they're in a court of law and they're under oath. Then they must tell the truth.
They still lie in a court of law.
A public inquiry to get the RCMP
the Truro case
on the stand under oath and ask those questions. Point blank, Jim. Point blank.
Still
until we have it,
let them do their investigation first. Let them finish it, and then let's have a public inquiry.
Appreciate the call. Thanks very much. Who have I got next here? It is June. Good morning, June.
Good morning, Mick.
June.
I just want to take a couple of minutes.
I think this is June.
To tell you how thankful we are for everything that you're doing, because you are doing the right thing. We are all in this together. We want to stand behind the families for an open and public inquiry. Thank you, Rick, for what you're doing. It's wonderful.
Thank you, June.
It's not me that's doing it.
That's our friend.
People out there. It's you and the many others who are calling the Premier's office, who are sending emails, who are calling his constituency office, to the point where, you know, we have jammed up their voicemail boxes on a couple of occasions, and just keep the pressure on. Just keep the pressure on, and perhaps we will convince the Premier that indeed Nova Scotians are almost united in a demand for a public inquiry.
And you know what a beautiful day tomorrow if you're in the area. You know, take the ferry across, leave your vehicle at the ferry if you're in Dartmouth side, and just enjoy the day. You know, if you've never been to a march before, this will be the most worthy cause to show up there.
Yeah, indeed. It starts at 10 o'clock tomorrow morning down from the down at the ferry terminal. The family members and they're welcoming anybody who wants to join with them. We'll be marching from the ferry terminal to Province House to again press.
Hope all of you down there can make it. It's a good day to take off work.
Thank you, Rick.
Thanks, June. Appreciate it. Jenna just sent an email to say she too sent an email to the Premier demanding a public inquiry into the mass shooting.
Janet.
Andrew emails to say he says, excellent idea. My email's been sent and I've received a confirmation. And as Tommy suggested, maybe we should give out Mark Fury's phone number.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'll consider that, but I like to concentrate right now on the Premier. So I'm giving out a couple of numbers here. 424-6600
Free
is the Premier's office in Halifax here. 424-6600.
Neil.
424-6600.
Trudeau.
His constituency office.
Just like drop it on them.
825-2093. But that mailbox, voice mailbox was pretty full. And there's another number being given out, 1-800-267-1993. Give him a call.
Give him a call.
What your thoughts here are. Do you favor
Give him a call right now.
Inquiry? If so, Let the premium know. 902-405-6000 or 1-877-801-8255 is our number. And Terry's giving us a call this morning. Hi, Terry.
Hi, how are you?
I'm doing great. How about your good self?
Good, good. Two things. First one's about the schools opening up September. If we didn't have that bad of a pandemic, we are going to have one when they open up those schools. But you can't tell me jamming 30 kids in a classroom is any safer than putting 30 adults in a bar.
I agree. And in fact, in the states where they've already opened some schools, they're already getting a taste of that with the increased COVID cases. There are teachers now saying, I believe there was a stat the other day, a good number of teachers in the USA, they're not going to go back to class. They'll quit before they have to go back to school.
So what I want to say to Stephen McNeil's government is, so they open up the schools, we have another pandemic. Is Stephen McNeil going to open up the government's purse strings to pay everybody's bill?
Yeah, not like.
Are they gonna continue paying my wage because I get sick from my kid going to school?
Well, here's the other thing of this as well. We were told last week on Friday that as of this Friday, it'll be mandatory to wear facial masks when in shopping malls and grocery stores and such. The Premier said it's a prelude to opening our border to the rest of the country. But in the rest of the country, Ontario, Quebec, Alberta, and BC, and even Manitoba now reporting cases, there's a surge in COVID cases. So why the Premier is even talking about opening up our borders right now is absolutely ridiculous. And good for Blaine Higgs, the Premier of New Brunswick, who says he has no intention of opening up his border to the rest of Canada right now.
I like that a lot. Stephen McNeil is only about Stephen McNeil. Stephen McNeil only cares about money. At the end of the day, he doesn't want to do an inquiry. He doesn't want to do nothing. Why? Because in the words of the Liberals, no life matters. If life mattered to the Liberals, they would do this to help the families get past this so no other family in the future has to deal with this situation. And it's all on Stephen McNeil and our Prime Minister, Justin Trudeau. Justin Trudeau can do this himself if he actually wanted to.
I agree, and perhaps we should be focusing efforts as well. Maybe this will come later in the week. We'll focus our efforts on the federal government and the Prime Minister, Justin Trudeau. Good call, Terry.
Yeah.
Thanks very much.
Thank you.
All right, bye-bye. Hugh is next here. Good morning, Hugh.
Morning, Rick. I've been here 74 years in Nova Scotia. 35,000 more people here in 12 years. And what I'm wondering, Rick, do they do a census here like they do in the United States?
Yes, they do. I think it's every 4 or 5 years.
Okay, that's absolutely necessary. We're talking about children going back to school. We're talking about seniors. We're talking about the hospitals, the emergency, the nurses, and we have to know how many people are in Nova Scotia. And if this government's not doing it, we have to have that.
No, our population numbers are pretty up to date. I don't have the exact number, but we're over 900,000 people here in this province right now. And there is a census done, and that outlines, the population, breaks it down into the regions, and talks about the country's population and all. So yeah, don't fret about that, Hugh. That's information that does come out.
Okay, welcome back, Fredericton. The ship. They've been on it 4 months, so I welcome them back. And the children, they'll all be really, really happy to see their families.
Yeah, no question. I'm sure. Very happy reunion down on the waterfront today. Appreciate the call. Thank you, Hugh. The Fredericton, by the way, was away for 6 months. And again, their deployment marked by that deadly helicopter crash in April that took the lives of 6 crew members. But the Freddie's back home, and again, welcome back to the crew, the 240 men and women, the crew of HMCS Fredericton. 10:45 is our time. We'll be back with more of your calls right after this quick break. 10:48. Rachel just emailed to say she sent an email to Premier.
Hey, Rachel.
Got a confirmation email. She adds, if we don't get a public inquiry, I hope Nova Scotians remember McNeil and Trudeau when we go to the polls.
Remember them all. They're all
thanks for giving us a platform to put pressure on the government for a full inquiry. My email is sent, writes Carla. My message left on the 1-800 number, but as of 10:44, the Halifax mailbox is still full. That 1-800 number, by the way, is 1-800-267-1993. 1-800-267-1993. Dominic emailed the Premier to demand a public inquiry. His automatic reply includes the following: on April 18th and 19th, our province experienced an unimaginable tragedy in already difficult times. Give some links for support, says Dominic. Apparently, he recognizes that this tragedy has enough of an impact on the entire province that he thought it prudent to address it directly with every email he receives from the public. Makes you wonder why he's not allowing that same public to investigate the matter. Don is next to this morning. Good morning, Don.
Yeah, good morning, Rick.
How are you this morning, sir?
I'm good. Yourself?
Good, thanks.
That's good. I'd just like to remind Nova Scotians that voted federally and provincially for the Liberal Party, you got what you deserve, and you should learn to suck it up, because this is the way the Liberals have always been, and that's why we kicked them out of office probably back about 15 years ago. And I would also like to tell local people that if you can make a difference, get on the phone or email your local MP, because I think all the MPs in Nova Scotia are Liberals except for maybe one.
Yeah, one. There's 10 Liberal MPs and one Conservative MP.
Yeah, exactly. So flood their mailboxes and their telephone lines and see if you can get some response out of them, because as it goes right now, they're standing behind the Prime Minister. And the Prime Minister, I don't think, could care less what happened here in Nova Scotia, because it's just not that important to him.
Maybe you're right in that regard, but I think right now it's important to put the pressure on the Premier. This is his call.
Sure.
Yeah, and so, perhaps another day we'll focus on the federal politicians, on the Prime Minister, or even local MPs. But I think right now it's important we get the message to the province that the majority of Nova Scotians, a vast majority of Nova Scotians, reject his review and demand a public inquiry.
Well, it's too bad that the weather's so hot. People couldn't get together and do a big major march on the provincial legislator down in Halifax.
Well done. Tomorrow at 10 o'clock, that is going to happen. The family members of some of the victims of the mid-April shootings are going to be marching from the ferry terminal in downtown Halifax to Province House, and they're urging anyone who wants to join with them to join along. So if you're inclined to, Don, 10 o'clock tomorrow morning, meet down at the ferry terminal and join with the
Good day to take the day off work.
Well, that sounds like a good thing.
Show those families you're behind them, 100%.
I'd also like to remind Nova Scotians that this was a heinous crime of whatever. It wasn't a gun crime, and don't blame it on firearms all the time, because this man was definitely not all in this gray matter.
No question at all, but there is new information. Appreciate the call, Don. New information out today. And again, thanks to the media challenging we're going to court to get access to some of these RCMP search warrants. And granted, some of them have been areas redacted, blacked out, in fact, but we know from information released this week that Gabriel Wertman was both a drug dealer who smuggled drugs and guns in from the United States. And again, the more information that comes out about this individual, does that not scream out for more information from a public inquiry, so that the RCMP, apparently they were aware of this.
Oh, really?
They knew about this for years. So why wasn't anything done about that? Again, a public inquiry would allow us to question the RCMP while under oath in that regard. 902-405-6000 or 1-877-801-8255. Good morning, Daryl.
Morning, Rick. How are you?
I'm doing very well, sir. You want to, have you made your call to the Premier's office?
Well, not as of yet, but I made a call to my MLA to find out where, because surprisingly, the Liberal MLAs are all very silent on this.
Yeah. Well, not surprising really, but yeah, they are.
Well, I mean, what is this? Do we have a mafia installed in the political leadership? Is this what we have here? Because I mean, I've emailed my MLA, who we've elected to represent us. Haven't heard a peep from them. Haven't heard a peep from any of the MLAs. So, we're just wondering here, what's going on? As Nova Scotians, as you know, we are one of the highest taxed people on the planet. Okay?
Yeah.
So now all of a sudden, when the rubber meets the road and we need the RCMP, we don't have them. So in my mind, all the RCMP now are good for is to pull you over and give you a speeding ticket. Now, I know that's kind of a general broad statement, but what else are they going to do? You've got a mass murderer on the loose down there, and you don't do anything about it. You have a gentleman down the South Shore wearing nothing but a pair of shorts, and you lose them for 5 or 6 days. So, I don't know what's going on here. We as Nova Scotians have to demand that these people that get we need an inquiry.
You're right. You're right in the silence from MLAs. It's deafening. Their silence is deafening.
I mean, and I've asked, I've emailed, and I've texted my MLA. Nothing. Crickets is all I've got. So, you know, where are these MLAs? And when they come knocking on my door for re-election, I'm going to ask them this. Where were you when I asked you these questions? Where were you when all this travesty was going down? Where were you?
Yeah, no question. That's excellent points. Excellent point. But again, you know, we could be spreading, you know, our forces out and contacting all the provincial MLAs. But I think the important thing is to focus on one thing right now. That's the Premier's office. Let the Premier of Nova Scotia know what we think about review versus an inquiry. And I sound like a broken record here, but I'll give out the numbers again. 424-6600 is the Premier's office number in Halifax. One more, 902-825-2093 is his constituency office. There's a toll-free number as well, 1-800-267-1993. Yes, Daryl.
Well, I was just wondering, you know, with regard to these MLAs, I mean, if they all stood up and did what was right, you know, we'd have an inquiry.
Yeah, no question. No question.
This leads me to believe we've got a mafia around this province.
What the problem right now is that, you know, with politics in Canada, and not just this particular issue, but politics in general in Canada, is everybody toes the party line. The Liberals.
Yeah, well, why am I electing a guy to represent me then? If he's just going to get up there and toe Central Canada or the party line, why am I electing this guy anyway?
Good point. And let's show.
Why you get paid, you know, $100,000+ a year to
give him a call.
To just say be a yes man. I mean, I could do that.
Yeah, I appreciate the call, Daryl. Thanks very much. And let's see some guts from some of you Liberal MLAs out there. Surely,
come on.
Surely you've got to believe
we can do this.
That a public inquiry is a better answer here to this, the questions that are hanging over this thing, than a review. And if you do, then why are you saying something? Why don't you? Darren Fisher at least went a little public with his again his support for a public inquiry, though he's not making himself available apparently for interviews right now. But at least he issued a statement. So where's the rest of our MPs and MLAs, our Liberal MPs and Liberal MLAs in regards to this matter? Where are they? Where are your voices? Give us a call here this morning. Cheryl, good morning to you.
Good morning.
Let's not use harsh language and threatening stuff. Okay. Let's do it the right way. We can do it. Come on.
Me too. And you know, I would like to be that little bird that comes out and be the voice right now. I'm in my very early 30s. I've been experiencing this for my entirety of my life. I demand, along with the public, an inquiry. And
Truth.
The reason for that, I come from a small western town in Nova Scotia. I'm not going to go into deep details. But things like this have been going on with the RCMP, and this has actually been a huge part of my life, which has caused me mental health issues, along with watching my mother be traumatized, abused, simply because you mentioned that people can be forced to be put under oath, and they can discuss informants, I believe you said.
Yep.
Am I correct? Yeah.
I can't find the 800 number. If you find it, Lynn, please let me know.
For the family in Portapique,
I'll change it.
Of what they've gone through, there are tons and tons of families from small communities around where this corruption is
You have
going
to pay
on.
them twice.
And
It's our fucking phone.
So, absolutely. If they're made to be put on the stand and tell the truth, some of these informants that have been stopping, you know, people from being properly protected, maybe that would put a little bit of faith back into people like myself.
Don't worry,
my
Fear.
family,
I
and the
understand
other
your
families that
frustration.
are struggling with this.
Appreciate the call, Cheryl. Thanks very much.
Not a problem.
All right, take care.
Right on, Cheryl.
All right, coming up to 2 minutes before 11 o'clock, we're going to break here for a news update. We've got another hour to go yet, folks. So those of you on hold, stay there. We'll get to you after the news. We've got a few lines open here, too, this morning. If you've got something to say, 902-405-6000 or 1-877-801-8255. A news update coming up. Maybe use that time to call the Premier's office or write him. Send him an email, premier@novascotia.ca. Let him know what you think about his decision to hold a review rather than a public inquiry. The numbers again, 424-6600. The constituency office in Middleton, 902-825-2093. It's a toll-free number as well, 1-800-267-1993. Let them know. Let them know what you think. Give it to them. 10:58 is our time. We're going to take that break for news update. Then back with more of your calls right after the news.
let's blow them up. We can do it. Come on.
Good morning, Nova Scotia. And how are you on this Tuesday morning? Another muggy day in the forecast today. Hi there. Welcome to our show. I'm Howe with you until 12:30 this afternoon.
Yeah, it's Laura.
Right now. Here's what we've got coming up
Laura
on
Lynn.
the show for you today.
I'll drop the link.
The Polish community wants the justice minister to investigate reports right-wing extremists from Germany are buying up land in Cape Breton. Tom Urbaniak with the Atlantic Canada District of the Canadian Polish Congress will tell us why they're concerned. Political blogger Parker Dunham will offer his comments on the province's decision to hold a review rather than a public inquiry into mid-April shooting rampage. And Parker says, Chief Justice Michael McDonald, named to head up that review, should never have agreed to the government's terms. And later this hour, we'll hear from the Halifax resident behind the online petition that demands a full independent inquiry into the murderous spree. After the news at 10, it's your turn to sound off this morning. We've got not one, but two straight open hours for you this morning. We call it Talk Back Tuesday.
Oh dear's got a couple of videos out.
How we can pressure the McNeil government to
go check her out, support her.
After the
please.
News at noon, the Canadian Taxpayer Federation's Paige McPherson will tell us more about their new report, suggesting Atlantic Canadians are at a tax disadvantage with our neighbors in the New England states. The Chronicle Herald.
So many people, so much respect for so many people in this story.
9:02
you guys
right
are
now.
amazing.
First up this morning, two protests yesterday over the province's decision to hold a review rather than a public inquiry into the mid-April shooting spree that left
my apologies.
Nova Scotians dead.
We started over. We need hour two. We need hour two. Let's phone and ask for the removal of those three people, please, because they're trash. That's all they moved them over for. I'm not trying to character assassinate them, but I can understand what's going on here. They're just mixing over to the other one, the same agenda, the same. That's why they were picked. We can have, there should be one actually overseeing them, I believe, one commissioner. So let's get the removal. The number is below there. If anybody has an 800 number, please post it. I will update it. Let's move on to hour two. So happy, very happy. Thank you all. All right, let's go to hour two.
Good Tuesday morning. Hope your 28th day of July is off to a great start so far this morning. It is 10:06 right now. Another hot, muggy day ahead of us today. Hi, and welcome to the second hour of our show this morning. I'm Rick Howe with you until 12:30 this afternoon. And here's what's ahead on the show for you today. It's your turn now this morning to sound off. We've got not one, but two straight open hours ahead. It is time now for Talk Back Tuesday. Here are the numbers to call. 902-405-6000 or 1-877-801-8255. After the news at noon, Paige McPherson with the Canadian Taxpayers Federation will tell us about their new report that finds Atlantic Canadians are at a tax disadvantage with our neighbors in the New England states. And we'll go to the movies this afternoon with the Chronicle Herald's arts and entertainment reporter, Stephen Cook. But this hour, we want to hear what's on your mind this morning. Anything goes from now until noon. Here again, the numbers to call, 902-405-6000 or 1-877-801-8255. Well, there are growing calls by Nova Scotians demanding a public inquiry, not the review ordered by the province last week, but a public inquiry into the mid-April murder spree that left 22 Nova Scotians dead. Let's hear from you this morning. For it's only when we speak as one voice will we get the message across to this premier of ours. So give me a call here this morning. Is a review sufficient? Maybe you think it is. Let's hear your explanation. Or do you agree with an increasing number of Nova Scotians who are outraged with the review
JT's
and demanding
phone number?
A public inquiry? Sam, we're going to play this clip here in a moment. The premier, in 2013, when opposition leader, spoke in favor of a public inquiry into the Nova Scotia Home for Colored Children, while the NDP government of the day was asking for a review. Here's what the premier had to say.
And the premier knows that the panel put together by his government.
Am I playing the same hour again?
Allow the voices of those victims be heard.
God damn it.
It does not have, Mr. Speaker.
Sorry. I'm sorry. The techno dumpness. Got it fixed.
We'll be having
Mr. Moneypenny.
So far this morning. Hi,
Angela.
to the third hour of
Amy.
Our show. I'm Rick Howe with you until
Look at all your hard work. It's really starting to pay off.
Talkback Tuesday continues.
But don't let them pull the sham.
We've got another open hour to go yet.
They're doing it again.
We'll go back to the phones in just a moment. Again, our numbers 902-405-6000 or 1-877-801-8255. After the news at noon, the Canadian Taxpayer Federation's Paige McPherson will tell us about their new report suggesting Atlantic Canadians are at a tax disadvantage when compared to the neighboring New England states. And we'll go to the movies with the Chronicle Herald's arts and entertainment reporter, Stephen Cook, this afternoon. But this hour, Talk Back Tuesday.
Same sham.
Our open hour continues this morning. Perhaps you'd like to discuss some of the issues raised in the last hour, or maybe you've got something new to raise with us this hour. Anything goes here this morning. Call me. Here again, the numbers 902-405-6000 or 1-877-801-8255. And let's go right to the phones. And Kelly is on the line. Good morning, Kelly.
Good morning, Rick. I just wanted to say I have a theory about why they are refusing to do the public inquiry, and I think it's due to the lawsuit, and they are covering their butts.
Maybe so. Maybe so. I asked the lawyer that this morning for the family members if he thought that was perhaps one of the reasons. He said he didn't think, but you just don't know these days with how politicians are thinking. I think that's a red herring, actually.
If they put them under oath, then they can't change the story and stuff. But that being said, I don't
think they censored your comment, Christina. I can't see it.
It's not really their fault because in America, we're not used to these mass shootings.
Yeah.
So they really wouldn't spend a great deal of time training for that. And
power.
Called in and said,
yep. You have the power. Come on. That's you.
A year, and they may get shot and killed or run over on the highway, or that's very little money when you're risking your life. I think if he thinks he can do a better job, he should strap a badge on and head out. And then the other thing is, I don't know if we should be calling the immigrants from Germany Nazis without really any basis for that. And I wonder if we would talk about people this way if they were immigrants of color.
That would be
I
wise.
think it's really rude.
If they were immigrants of color from Germany who were far right-wing ideolized, we might call them Nazis.
We don't really have proof that they're far right. We're just kind of accusing them of that. And they're like-minded.
That's not very cool if you're accusing them
from
of
other
things.
countries who sell their daughters. To this day, they're still selling their daughters. They still oppress all the women in their culture. We don't talk that way about them. We welcome them with open arms, and I feel like we should do that with immigrants from Germany as well. We don't really know that to be able to call them Nazis. It's really, until we know, we shouldn't say it.
We're relying on a report from that German news magazine, Der Spiegel, that, again, where's the story here? Of course, when I need it.
Because, I'll say that 35 years ago, when Point was Cape Breton, the Germans were buying up all the land, and nobody liked it. But I don't see any Nazi flags flying. Like, there's been no Holocaust going on. Like, they're really, to me, it seems like they're harmless. They've been buying the land. 35 years ago, they were buying it all up. I haven't seen them do anything bad. But selling your children is bad, and we welcome them with open arms.
Well, again, I hear what you're saying, Kathy, or Kelly rather. Der Spiegel last week published the story suggesting, and in fact, they named the former German television newscaster Eva Hermann. Her partner,
is that Prime Minister's number, Amy?
Eckhart,
this number?
German nationals living in Cape Breton who are connected to the plan. They are, according to Der Spiegel,
howdy, Tommy.
Far-right extremists, Germans. Again, call them Nazis, whatever you want. They have been Holocaust deniers, and so on and so forth. And again, Der Spiegel's outlined a pretty significant case here, a pretty convincing case as to their ideology, their far-right wing, and their danger to, again, Canadians.
But are they really a danger, though? That's what I mean. Like, I don't see them doing anything dangerous to anybody. I do see people selling their daughters overseas and forcing them into marriage.
Well, I thought that was for McNeil.
Well, that's their culture.
But if we had a community of these people doing that, of course we'd have something to say.
We have many communities of them doing it. That's what I'm saying. And there is groups that they're fighting it. But if we don't talk about it on the news because it's not culture right now to talk that way. But we have flat earthers too. People are going to believe silly things. But unless they're hurting people, they have the right to believe whatever they want.
Well, and as for your concerns about the RCMP, a public inquiry might get to, if indeed the RCMP were not trained properly to deal with a situation like what happened in mid-April, then an inquiry would determine that and would make recommendations on how to improve that training. Yeah, so again, another reason why a public inquiry is going to get to the bottom of things that a review will not.
Yes, and could you remind people about the online petition? I've been sharing it on Facebook. I've signed it, and hopefully we can get more people on there.
Indeed.
Thank you, Rick.
All right. Appreciate the call, Kelly. Thanks. That petition can be found online at change.org. And just search for the petition about the Portapique massacre or the mid-April shooting spree in Nova Scotia, and then sign your name. But we're also urging you to let the Premier know your thoughts here on a review versus a public inquiry. We're urging you to call the Premier's office here at Halifax, 902-424-6600. His constituency office, 902, it's a long distance call, this one, 902-825-2093. There's a 1-800 number, that's toll free, 1-800-267-1993, or just send the Premier an email, premier@novascotia.ca. You want a public inquiry and not a review into the Portapique massacre. 902-405-6000 or 1-877-801-8255 is our number, and Lionel's given us a call this morning. Hi, Lionel.
Hello, how's it going?
It's going well, sir. How are you doing this morning?
Not too bad. Just to change the topic a little bit,
sure.
Going back to the frontline workers, I'd like to put out a shout out to the second line workers, the one that supported them throughout all of this, that needed to be at work for them to be able to do their work. And that's a group of people that's been neglected this whole time.
Yeah, okay. Your point being, though, what?
My point being is some of them are going to get from the province a bonus or whatever. Some others are being ignored because they're apparently not part of that frontline group, but yet they were essential workers helping them to do their job.
Yeah. Well, it's a good point you raised here, Lionel. I appreciate the call. Thank you. 902-405-6000 or 1-877-801-8255. And again, we've got about just about a little over 45 minutes to go here in this program here this morning, Talk Back Tuesday. 45 more minutes to call the Premier's office. Email the Premier's office. The address, premier@novascotia.ca. Call 902-424-6600 or 902-825-2093 or 1-800-267-1993. Let the Premier, let him know that you are incensed with his decision to hold a review and that you want a public inquiry. Rick's given us a call here this morning with his thoughts on the inquiry issue. Good morning, Rick.
Hey, good morning. Look, I'm certainly in favor of a public inquiry, but just in case we don't get one, the objective really is to get the RCMP under oath.
Yeah.
And I'd like you to ask one of your law professor guests about a provision, I don't know if it's in the Canadian Criminal Code or Nova Scotia, where you can actually prosecute or have a trial, for someone who was killed during the commission of a crime and make them prove that he actually did the crime. And as soon as you do that, you've got the RCMP.
Thanks, Amy. Yeah.
In there, and
it's okay. Well, we can blow up McNeil too.
Would have
blow up.
defense counsel,
well,
they would be able to
literally, but lucky.
Areas.
There's another good one.
Yeah, that's a good idea. And there was another suggestion.
Don't stop.
The coroner's office.
We got to get the removal of those people because they're not seeing the best interest.
But they're just the coroner.
That's why they got reappointed.
He has no intention of doing that. So
the chief medical examiner can do that, and he was the person who called for the inquiry into the Desmond affair.
But he says now his name is Dr. Matthew Bowes, and he said, just reading here, he says in an email statement to CBC, quote, I am not considering a fatality inquiry under the Fatality Investigations Act at this time.
Well, that's why they won't give the families the petition, the autopsies. Come on.
We need the feds to.
The fix is in.
Colored children, do we?
Nope.
So why does Premier McNeil, why is he bending to the federal government if we don't even need the federal government other than the financial issue? And if it's that crass, that's even worse than I thought.
Yeah, no, I agree wholeheartedly.
They're scum, these people.
We can all agree that they're hiding something. What is it that they're hiding?
Yeah, exactly. Oh, it's big. It's big.
Appreciate the call. Thank you. 11:15, 902-405-6000 or 1-877-801-8255. Back with more right after this. 11:18.
I can't share because of my my name. I don't know if that works. Go sign up on the Facebook.
Email to say all the mailboxes are now full. Kevin sent me an email though with another perhaps avenue to get to the premier. He says, I believe the premier also has a Twitter account.
Please don't be censoring people. I don't like that.
So if you can't get through on the phone, if you don't want to send an email, and again, the email address.
I understand people have different opinions, but we can't censor people. Absolutely. That's a serious no-no. Oh, shit. That didn't work, did it?
That'll get the message across as well. Mike, good morning to you.
How you doing today?
I'm well.
Can I just copy the link?
Comment with the RCMP. They're doing a great job with the facts themselves. I think the actual organization itself is too big. You know, organization is so big that they don't want to change.
Why then the mods? Because they can post stuff.
Maybe so. New Brunswick did try.
But I don't like people being censored.
Mike and
you know, even if we all we disagree.
A couple of years, and then they opted back for the RCMP. I'm not exactly sure.
Not my way.
Remember the reasoning why, but I know that they formed a New Brunswick Provincial Police Force. But it's just a matter of a couple of years later, they abandoned that plan and went back to the RCMP. So I don't know how easy it is or is not to form a provincial police force, but you know, maybe it's something that needs to be looked at right now.
Engineer like Atlantic Canada Prevention Police, where all three provinces share costs, but at least they'll have control over what the emergency response they want to initiate, and to at least the premiers will have a call on that, right?
Yeah, no, I mean,
you don't have that call.
It's worthy of consideration, and that's for sure. Now, whether it'll ever get off the ground, I'm skeptical, but again, it's worth some conversation anyway. Is the RCMP does the policing that the RCMP provides, is it satisfactory to the people of Nova Scotia, or do we need to make a change?
Yeah, I think you do, but everybody's kind of there, right?
Appreciate your call, Mike. Thanks very much.
I know there should be, but I'm not allowed to because of my name.
Oh shit, I'm on.
They don't like me. Hey, cringy.
Oh, I'm sorry, Rick.
That's okay. Just
I just had a chance to counter there in the parking lot.
So what's on your mind here this morning, Glenn?
Oh, you know what? Now I lost all my train of thought.
Oh my.
But anyway, you know, I appreciate your show there
Signal.
today.
Right, and have you called the Premier's office yet? Have you sent them an email yet?
No, I will. You know what? Some of the information that I gather, and some of it comes from your show, which is great. Think about this. There's like 700.
Hey, great.
There's more than 700 RCMP officers in Nova Scotia.
Corey. Howdy.
The first attempt to stop
Cringy,
that.
Gray,
I can't use any
Corey,
or anything like that.
Sure.
And she was by herself. I really feel so sad about that.
And we don't know still the full story as to what happened. Did she try to ram his car? Did he ram her car? How was he able to, from what we understand, basically haul her out of his
Clown
vehicle, her vehicle rather.
Clown media. Sorry.
How did that happen? We don't know the details yet. And again, this is something that would come out of a public inquiry. Should she have been all by herself and trying to deal with that gunman? The other constable who was wounded was just a little further up the road after he'd been shot, but not seriously hurt. Lots of questions.
Well, I mean, like I say, if there's over 700,
maybe we can leave
in the province,
that left right stuff. I don't want to upset anybody.
HRM extended, and my God, these people are, and we were 10 hours into it, and there she goes by herself, and what an awful state.
Yeah, indeed, it was.
I don't want to upset anybody. We're all friends. We're all going to because we're all looking for the same thing, right? Eye on the target. So let's try and keep there. Let's try and keep maybe some of our beliefs on the side, because who are we looking out for, right? I don't want to censor anybody. I never will do that. That's not my way. And I'm not calling out people for doing that. I'm not giving them shit. I just say, please don't, because this is just the way it's just the way. I'll ask that we can check some of that stuff, and everybody's entitled to that, of course, but just let's stay focused right here, because that's the people that we want to help, right? That's all. And hopefully people can respect that. I like to ask respectfully. Anyway, hopefully people understand.
People want to know that, and we're not rumors. We're not just trying to talk around the campfire or anything like that. We need to know, and it's okay. And we're not trying to nail anybody to the cross or anything like that either. But we need to know this can never happen again.
Yeah, indeed. Well said.
Or it's got to be mitigated. That I mean, you can't stop a nut from doing something, but you got to be able to mitigate it as best you can.
Well, and again,
the March tomorrow
with an inquiry,
let's see, what time is
that?
that?
It's not going to cut it.
I totally agree. Yeah. I still think of Heidi today.
I appreciate that. Thank you. And again, our condolences as well. To the
somebody posted it. Somebody have it there for me?
This is from Nada, who emailed
10 a.m.
I appreciated the job
awesome.
that Premier McNeil did.
Thank you, Truth. 10 a.m. March. Please go and show your support.
Reaction. So why
this is
she wonders that he's not willing to listen to experts following advice when
talking over. This isn't about this fight is going to be a long fight. I assure you. It's going to be very long and it's going to be messy. So continue to show your support for the families. They need that anyways on a personal level. So let's keep standing with them. Go and join that Facebook page, Nova Scotia stuff. I can't do that because they don't like me, my name anyway. The algorithm doesn't like it. So maybe somebody else can link the page. And and then also there's that petition. I linked the petition a little bit earlier down below. Please phone that phone number, because it's the families. They're the ones, the big ones, right? They're like 90% of this. So let's just help them out and be there for them. Let's leave our political stuff. I assure you, Ms. Fox definitely knows that, right? She and I think, sit on different ends, right? A little bit, or have different beliefs on things, and that's cool. I don't want to censor her, and I don't know. Maybe given the opportunity, maybe she would censor me. I'm not sure, but I don't even want to talk about that stuff. I put all that away for now, because this here to me, it's all about Tara for me in my realm and these families. It's all of them. It's all Canadians. Let's not get snowed anymore, lied to, bullshit. And we can go from there afterward, but let's do this.
Comes to an inquiry into the mass shooting at Portapitt. In either case, he writes, I wish Premier McNeil well in the next provincial election when he begins his search for another job. And Pat writes to say, this review is insulting to the families of people of this province and this country. I'm not sure of any time in recent history, even Americans couldn't pull off what the dentist has done. I've never heard of anything like this diabolical massacre. Better we have a full inquiry. Better to not add extra chapters to what I'm sure will become a Hollywood plot. 11:24 is the time right now. Blair's on the line. Good morning, Blair.
Hi, how are you?
I'm well, sir. How are you?
Good. I listen to you loyally, Rick. I love your show.
I appreciate that.
And I'm here this morning to have on the phone. We're the RCMP is a federal force. It's a federal police force.
Yeah.
Shouldn't we, at this point, be taking this to the Prime Minister and not the Premier?
But
I believe that we should be. Do be forced to have a public inquiry into this because there's something not right about this.
Well, you're right in that the RCMP is a federal police force, but it's under contract to the Nova Scotia government. So technically, it's our police force that we have contracted out that we are paying for, and or paying some of it.
In other words, we're reliable for it.
Yeah. So that's why again, maybe another day, we'll send our emails off to the Prime Minister. But I think right now we need to press upon the Premier of Nova Scotia how much we oppose his review and how much we want a public inquiry.
Yeah, I agree. I think we should stay on this Premier until he gets this done, because this has to come out, because there's something just not right about this whole thing.
Yeah, I agree.
That's my opinion. Thanks anyway, Rick.
Appreciate the call, Blair. Appreciate being a fan. Thanks very much. Tom is next here. Good morning, Tom.
Hi, how are you?
I'm well, sir. How are you doing today?
I was wondering, whatever happened to his girlfriend after the shooting?
We haven't heard from her at all.
Oh!
Is she in witness protection, or is she RCMP?
Don't know.
She is.
Know. Again, after she came out of the woods and talked to the RCMP and told them what she did, basically she is, gone into hiding. I guess is the best way I can describe it. She's just not been. She's not been available. I haven't seen any media. I'm sure that the reporters out there have been trying to get a hold of her, trying to get her to comment, but none that I'm aware of have been successful so far. So she has basically, zipped her lips. She is not speaking at all right now. I don't think people know where she is even.
Yeah, I think they probably put her away somewhere because she probably knew too much.
Well, she did help them again. Initially, that's at least what we were told, that she gave them that picture of his police car and told us about her situation where she'd been assaulted and fled into the woods that night. And but I'm sure there's more to that story that we haven't heard yet. That's for sure.
Yes, exactly. Oh, you're doing a great job.
I appreciate it, Tom. Thanks very much. 11:27 is our time. Just before we break for a news update, just want to remind you what the Premier said when he was the opposition leader to the then Darrell Dexter government, the NDP government of Darrell Dexter. The Dexter government was talking about a review into the Nova Scotia Home for Colored Children. That's when Stephen McNeil stood up in the legislature as leader of the opposition and condemned the government for a review. And here's what he said in 2013.
And the Premier knows that the panel put together by his government does not allow the voices of those victims to be heard, and it does not have, Mr. Speaker, the legal requirement to force people to testify at a public inquiry to ensure that Nova Scotians know exactly what happened, and the Premier knows.
That's what the Premier said, or the opposition leader, then opposition leader Stephen McNeil, said in 2013. Funny how his thoughts have changed since then, huh? 11:28 is our time. We've got a number of people on hold. We'll get to you. We've got some lines open, too. If you've got something to say this morning, we'd love to hear from you. 902-405-6000 or 1-877-801-8255. We'll be back with more of your calls after a news update. It is coming up next. 11:33 here on Talk Back Tuesday morning into the home stretch right now. We've got the open hour continuing until noontime, and well, that means anything goes, and all you have to do is give us a call at 902-405-6000 or 1-877-801-8255. We can also reach us via email, rick.howe@news957.com, or tweet us at The Rick Howe Show. And Jamie tweets to say the RCMP did not release the information about the shooter's smuggling activities. That was part of redacted evidence that the media had to go to court to have released. The RCMP writes, Jamie tried to keep it secret. They can't be trusted to tell the truth. We're asking you here this morning to call the Premier's office and let him know what you think about his decision for a review as opposed to a public inquiry. I'll give you the numbers again for the last time here this morning. 902.
Good to have you on board.
6600.
I will remember to get some chai tea
902-424-6600.
to replace my
His
coffee.
constituency office in Middleton, 902-825-2093. There's a 1-800 number as well. That's toll free, 1-800-267-1993. You can tweet Stephen McNeil at Stephen McNeil, or you can send him an email, premier@novascotia.ca. Give him a call. Send him a note. Let him know what you think Only when he hears that a vast majority of Nova Scotians, when tens of thousands of us are demanding a public inquiry, maybe then that'll get through his skull that that's what's necessary. That's what's needed. That's how we'll get to the bottom of what happened in mid-April this year. 902-405-6000 or 1-877-801-8255. Jim, good morning.
Hey, today.
Yes, sir. I'm doing fine. Jim, what's on your mind here this morning?
Tim Bousquet is awesome.
I was talking to you earlier.
Yeah, did you call?
Yep.
Good.
And
Love you too.
I just want to say that I talked to Sean Fraser, or I shouldn't say I talked to Sean Fraser. I left a message.
Good. Yeah. He's the MP for up in Glasgow, Antigonish, Central Nova MP.
Yeah. And I left a message for Kevin Murphy.
Mm-hmm. He's the Speaker of the Legislature
Yep,
and another
good.
Liberal MLA. Yeah.
And I left a message for him that, you're the most second powerful man in the government, that you can call the legislature back to vote on something like this.
Well, hopefully he heard the message, Jim, and I got to go on to other callers here. I got a whole full lineup here this morning. Thank you. Let's go to Greg next here. Hi, Greg.
How you doing, Rick?
Good, sir. How are you doing this morning?
Oh, it's my 36th wedding anniversary today.
Well, happy anniversary.
Yeah,
And
what you think?
And have you got your wife something special?
What do you think?
You better have. That's what I think. Yeah.
Yeah. No, but I'm just really happy about that. 36 years.
Yeah. Well, that's a long time. Yep.
Yeah, but I had black hair, but don't anymore.
So, have you called about the inquiry? Have you called the Premier's office yet or written them a note?
No, I didn't. I understand what people are saying, but the thing is, to me, you look at these people that are on the review. I mean, boy, I'll tell you, Mr. McDonald, one of our chief jurists that ever sat on the bench and knows, so very respected. You've got a former cabinet minister, very respected, and a former chief.
But their hands are tied.
I just say, listen, I'm going to say this, Greg.
Their hands are tied, Greg. Greg, their hands are tied. They are working.
No, I think it may. See, these people have experience in law enforcement. They've been, and they know. So,
but let's say, for example, Greg, that you're an RCMP officer who was there that night, the night of April 18th, one of the first responders, and I'm Chief Justice McDonald, and I want to talk to you about what you experienced that night. But you, through the RCMP or through your union, say, no, I'm not going to do that. That he can't compel you to testify under the way the thing is set up now. But if it was a public inquiry, he could subpoena you and you would have no choice but to not only testify, but testify under oath, Greg. And that's the big difference.
But I'm saying, Rick, but you're assuming that they're not going to say anything. We don't know what. If I have to believe that an RCMP officer, if he's not going to uphold the laws of this land and truthfully tell the truth, then he's not going to do that, then we've hit the bottom of the barrel.
Oh,
concerned. So,
well, again, the RCMP acknowledges, Greg, that they have the ability, the right to lie.
Like this argument doesn't make sense to me. Why you wouldn't want something that enables the most truth? That doesn't make sense. I'm going to argue against that. I want something that absolutely can provide the least amount of truth possible. No. Clearly somebody's not getting it. They're not understanding exactly what's going on. Even if it was the most ludicrous thing in the face of the planet, you should probably want the thing that tells you the truth, as opposed to going for something that
unless they're in a court of law and under oath. Only then must they tell the truth. So again, you're leaving this open for the RCMP, whether they want to or not. Even if they want to, they don't have to tell us the truth.
Well, yeah, but I don't think they're going to do that. I really don't think so.
I asked the RCMP office.
That is such a head in the sand. But again, it still doesn't even make sense. I'm going to ask for the thing that's going to tell me the least amount of truth. and presume that I'm going to get told the truth. Why would you not just take your cake and eat it too? I want to get the truth as use the vehicle that's going to provide me the most truth, at least in this case. The most truth is obviously going to come out, in my opinion, multiple lawsuits launched by the families. That's the way it's got to be done. Against the RCMP pension, very important to name somebody in here. I don't want to call them out. Well, I'll say Don, very smart, came up with that, name them as a plaintiff, the RCMP pension. Let's make them think about it. Federal government, Nova Scotia government, right?
Yes, sir. I ask you, Greg, the RCMP, you're the detachment commander. You're the officer in charge of the RCMP in Nova Scotia. Was Gabriel Wortman, and you're on the stand here right now at a review, was Gabriel Wortman a confidential informant for the RCMP? He doesn't have to answer.
How about he's a cop?
To you and say, no, not at all. But if he was under oath,
we don't know if he's lying though.
But
we don't know if he's lying.
And if he was under oath and he said no, then perhaps we have more of a reason to believe him than if he's just simply saying it out of the goodness of his heart.
How many people go in court and lie anyway? Right? I mean,
so
police officers.
This argument is absolutely terrible. The logic.
Let's just wait and see what happens. I mean, I don't agree with this mask thing, but we have to suck it up. Well, this we don't agree with. You can do something, but is it going to make a difference? I don't know. I don't think so. I think he's set on this, and that's the way it's going to be. I mean,
well,
I really don't think Premier McNeil is going to really change his heart. I don't think.
Well, I think that if again, tens of thousands of Nova Scotians, and I understand that many have already sent notes, left messages, let him know that I think that that's got to resonate with the Premier. He can't ignore the voices of a vast majority of Nova Scotians who are demanding an inquiry. He can't do it. Politically, it would be suicide for him. Politically.
Well, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. When the next election comes around, then you hold his feet to the fire.
Well, then that's the case. Then he risks losing the next election if he sticks to his guns.
But
great question.
Next election come around, people have forgotten about it.
I don't think people are going to forget about this one at all. No.
Anyway, I'm going to get something for my wife.
Good man. You'll live another day then, Greg. Appreciate the call. Thanks very much. Jeremy, good morning.
Good day, sir.
How you doing today?
Oh, surviving the heat.
Another hot one. Could be temperatures feel like temperatures in the high 30s today. So yeah, it's a scorcher out there.
It's going to be about 50 out here in the woods, Canaan, but
yeah, I'm sure.
But it's just
bang on.
Corporate force.
Bang on.
Drugs and guns through the border.
Yep.
That thing was proved that he was an informant with that Paul guy being right.
Well, maybe so. Really, why? And why would the RCMP say back in June when they were asked about any criminal activity by Wortman, the RCMP said, we're not aware of anything at all. And then just a few short weeks later, we get search warrants themselves that they were told, and this was years ago, that
it's the word salad.
Guns and drugs from the United States hit them in.
I respectfully will differ with this man. It's the word salad. You have to be careful of the word salad. We did not uncover. This is the problem. We did not uncover. If they're already aware, you don't uncover. Are you lying? Not really, but totally through your teeth. That's what they do. They play word salad.
In hiding places on his properties? Again, it sounds like the RCMP deliberately misled us in June when the answer was right there in black and white in their search warrants.
Yeah, that's right. Pretty much proved it all right there. And I want to say, many RCMP and cops have lied on the stand before. Look at that guy to get tasered out there in Vancouver there a couple years back.
Yeah.
Every one of them guys went up there and stand and lied. They're untouchable. It's just here the police chief who gets sentenced to underage sex. He got 15 months and he just got his sentence suspended.
Yeah, after
that was only back in March.
One third of the sentence, if that even, yeah.
Ain't that crazy? Just crazy. Don't even look back, Rick.
I appreciate the call. Thanks very much. But that doesn't mean that we can't have an inquiry and hope that under oath, that we'll hear the truth. That's the only way. Again, the only way is an inquiry under oath where witnesses are compelled to testify. And if they're reluctant to testify, then you subpoena them, you make them testify, and you hold their feet to the fire.
Personally, you, right, all of you over in the Discord, and again, that's down below. Please come and join us. There's, again, you can't, what's the harm? If you know something, anything, a little bit, share it. Share it. There's lots of ways to share it that you can be confidential, and we will uncover the truth. We have uncovered the truth, lots of it, before much of it has appeared in the mainstream media, even though the mainstream media is full of shit because they're running a snow job, except for a few really good reporters. Just like, you know, there's some really good police out there, and they need to be supported, and in an environment that they're not afraid. They're not afraid because they're getting snowed too. Let's have something so that they can be proud of. We can be proud of, not this bullshit. Sorry.
That's how we're going to find out whether Gabriel Workman was a confidential informant or just what was his relationship with the RCMP, and how did that impact on how they've been, well, handling the investigation prior to the incident in mid-April and after that as well. Back to the phones we go here this morning, and Angus is on the line. Good morning, Angus.
Good morning.
How are you today, sir?
I'm loving the show today. It's fantastic.
Glad to hear. What's on your mind?
Well, I got three things. First of all, I always wear a mask when I go out. I think it shows respect for others.
Yeah.
And the inquiry into Porter Pick, paramount. Should be public inquiry. It's absolutely paramount. Shows respect for those people. Right? I got through on the 1-800 number, by the way, but the other ones were filled up.
I'll give that 1-800 number out again, just in case somebody would like to call here. 1-800-267-1993. 1-800-267-1993. The Premier's email, premier@novascotia.ca.
Yeah, I also got a huge kick at a buddy earlier. I want everybody to know Nazis are bad people.
Yeah.
Not your friend.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyways, I called in because I called in last couple weeks ago. I think, was it Jeremy that was on talking about the Korean War?
Just the other day, you mean?
Yeah.
There was.
Why is there nobody speaking
out? Caller
out?
pointing out. I thought it was a female, maybe, but I can't recall.
Nobody.
I remember the
Very
the
few.
conversation was
But
about the armistice was signed.
this is shifting. I've seen the shift. I've seen the shift. It's coming. And it's going to be a deluge here pretty soon because people are seeing, listen, there's an army. That, you know, funnily enough, I'll share that. Molly O'Brien, right, is one of our friends, and she pays attention to, as do other families. And she said, you know, it's coming. That tsunami is coming. People are coming forward now. Please do the right thing. Look inside yourself. You don't want to have your kids waiting for 2 hours for the RCMP, do you? No. And you don't want criminality being conducted by the RCMP. No, you don't.
Sam just told me she thinks her name was Paula, so I think it was Paula who told us about the armistice signed on this date in 1953, on this date yesterday. And I had mentioned that we had chatted as well earlier when the anniversary of the start of the Korean War. We had a chat about the war with military historian John Willow.
Oh, that's who it was. That's who it was. So he told the story about how the Canadians were going to go in and blow up the railway tracks. That was their mission.
Yeah.
And my stepfather told the story one time on Thanksgiving dinner. He said they sailed into a harbor and the captains forgot to take account of where the tide was, and the vessel ran aground.
Thanks.
So they had sailed in to bomb and shell this battery. So the ship took a list. I don't know if it was to the port or the starboard, but anyways, it took a list. So don't they roll the gun out on the railway tracks? So now they're firing shells off the boat, and they're going over the gun. So the gun tries to come down low enough, but it's firing shells over the boat. So the ship's listed, and they're firing shells back and forth and not hitting either one of them. So eventually they just stood on the deck and waved to each other. They stood on the railway tracks, waved to them. And then once the tide came back in, they rolled the gun back into the battery, and then they fired off as many shells as they could in front of it. And then they sailed out of the harbor and agreed to always check the tide next time.
Yeah, really. Yeah.
That must have been a heck of a thing.
I'm sure that was heck of a thing. It's funny the stories you hear from when the old war stories that you hear from time to time, and some of the I don't want to call a funny story during a war, but it's a bit of a funny
Well,
story.
I can play her video. I think she might get upset,
we're not going to get anything accomplished, so they waved at each other.
I really don't want to. I don't want to upset anybody at this point, like as in upsetting YouTube or upsetting the. If I played something that of somebody's else, I can do that. Laura Lynn's video. But they might get angry about it. And then if I get a strike, that's it. I'm done for live streaming. Again, my other channel is listed below. I never use it, but the other ways that I'm around. Thank goodness for alt censored, keeping track of my channel.
But my grandfather had to enlist 3 times to get into the Second World War.
How old was he?
There you go, sir.
Oh, he was probably in his 30s.
Oh, really? Okay.
First time they weren't taking any men with families.
Yeah.
And the second time he went to enlist it, and they discovered he had had a farm incident, so he was kind of partially blind in one eye, so they weren't going to take him. So he went home and memorized the eye chart, and then went and enlisted in Truro and got into the North Nova Scotia Highlanders.
Wow, he was a dedicated Canadian.
Yeah.
Wow, I appreciate the story, Angus. Very good. My father was in the Korean War as well, and told many stories too. But again, it was 75 or 70 years ago. Yeah.
Yep.
Thanks, Angus. Appreciate the call. 11:46 is the time right now. We're going to take another break. We'll be back with more of your calls right after this. Coming up down to 11:49, just before we go back to the phones, Nova Scotia reporting no new active cases of COVID-19 yesterday. That leaves the number at 1,067. What's that now? 14 straight days, I think it is. Is it 14, Sam? I believe it's 14 straight days with no new cases. And we certainly seem to have a handle on this coronavirus right now. But again, the Premier is talking about opening up 13 days, says Sam. Okay. The Premier is talking about opening up our borders to the rest of Canada. In the rest of the country, that is Ontario, Quebec, Alberta, and BC especially, reporting a surge in the number of COVID cases. And here's our Premier talking about, let's open the borders to those folks. I don't think so. And good morning to you.
Good morning. I think everybody's forgotten one thing. The people are the government.
Yes.
And McNeil is our elected administrator, and so are the others, and they're forgetting that. And a lot of the civil servants, all the civil servants, they stay there no matter if their Liberals are in, or PCs, or the NDP. They stay. So they have a lot of power.
Wow.
The
bureaucrats.
Deputy ministers
This woman
more
has
power than the ministers do, and they have more knowledge because they've been there for eons.
But it's still the politicians who are making the final decisions, though, Ann. So when the decision to hold an inquiry was made, the buck stopped at the Premier's desk. The Premier made that decision.
Oh, I realize that, but I think the Premier thinks they're all going to lie anyway. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think the Premier actually believes they're all going to lie. And there's so much going on in Nova Scotia, that there's so much cover-up. And there's a thing called, I just found out about a black web, where there's pictures of children being abused sexually, cutting them up and everything. And this is going in Nova Scotia. Nova Scotian children are being stolen too. And I just heard someone, an immigrant actually, and she told me she was really worried. I said, yeah, I'm really worried too. But she has one of the people working on screening YouTube and everything. So we should be looking into that too. There's a lot of corruption that we're going to have to look into. And if they're going to lie on the stand, we'll find who's lying. Yeah. We'll have to own investigation.
And I agree that, there's a lot of crap that's going on in this world. But right now, I think our focus right now is on this inquiry versus a review, and why the Nova Scotia government is refusing to launch an inquiry and refusing to give this panel the ability to subpoena witnesses and have them testify under oath. That's, I think, our focus right now. You're right. There are other things that we could be looking at, and we'll get around to that.
I agree with you. I agree with you completely, and I think we should have it anyway. And if there are lying, we'll charge them with all perjury.
Indeed. Well said. Appreciate the call, Ann. Thanks very much. Who we got next? Wayne, good morning.
Good morning.
How are you today, sir?
Not too bad. 2 points. 1 point is about this inquiry.
Yeah.
Years ago, I was told by somebody, if you don't have an inquiry, the only way you'll get the truth, if the truth serves you better than a lie. That's an old saying.
Yeah.
Other things about Northwood. My mother's 92. I think she's the first one to get Crohn's disease. She was in a room with another woman. That woman stayed in that room until she caught it. There's 2 people there. At that time, there's 2 people to a room. And the bathroom had 2 doors. So there's 2 rooms. There's 4 people to 1 bathroom. So that has to change. Now, there's 9 siblings. There was 9 of us in our family. And I got to wait till the 9th of August before I get a half-hour visit with my mother. Now they're going to open the borders, deal once, open the borders to the rest of Canada. I know it's going to let them, ones from the south up here, the ones that follow this pandemic down there.
Well, the border to the U.S., the border with the U.S. is still closed. In fact, they just extended it to, again, another period of time yesterday. So I don't think we have to worry right now about a flood of Americans that are crossing the border into Canada. But we do have to worry about Albertans, British Columbians, Ontarians, and Quebecers coming here because those provinces continue to report increasing numbers of COVID-19.
Oh, that's right. And they're opening the bars. Kids are going back to school. Everything's going to normal the way I see the stuff, except you got to wear a mask. So why am I not allowed to go in and visit my mother or take my mother out for a drive? She's been locked in her room for 2 months, and now she's allowed out 2 times a week for a half hour each time.
Yeah.
And she has dementia, and her dementia's getting worse.
Yeah, it's a shame. It really is.
And none of this, and I just don't understand it. And McNeil and this other Dr. Strange, they're just, well, they control the ball game now because they closed the government down except for them. And you either dance to their tune or forget about it.
That's exactly what's going on. And again, the NDP this week, again, calling for the legislature to get back into session, to hold the government to account, to ask the questions that are needed to be asked in a legislature setting, and hopefully get answers as to why the government's doing what it's doing. But you're right. Right now, the premier is just quite content to leave things as they are, and that's him and Dr. Strang calling the shots here right now.
And that's right. And it's not fair. I mean, my MLA, I voted him as a man. But I mean, he's off now because, well, I guess now I'm independent. But anyways, irregardless, I voted him as the man. I didn't vote him in as a liberal or as conservative. Or I didn't vote him because I like probably not the prime minister, but I can't think now. The leader of the government anyway, McNeil.
Okay, yeah, the premier.
Right. I voted the man in because I like what he was going to do for our people. But you see now that all the MLAs, they forgot about the people that they're supposed to look after.
Yep.
They're just doing what that dictator in the Nova Scotia legislature wants to do.
Well said, Wayne. That's right. They're crickets right now. They are silent.
That's right.
And their silence is deafening. And I encourage, and indeed I urge, Liberal MLAs to start, appreciate the call, Wayne, thanks, to start speaking out and tell us what you think here. Faced with an onslaught of criticism about the government's decision to hold a review, are you going to hold the premier to account, you Liberal MLAs? Are you going to speak out and let us know whether you side with the premier or the majority of Nova Scotians? Pam, good morning.
Oh, hi, Rick. How are you doing?
I'm doing fine. Thanks very much.
Yeah. Okay. I'm just talking about the inquiry. I called that 1-800 number here about 10 minutes ago. I couldn't get through.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
I'm going to try again.
Okay.
And I tried the other one, 825. I couldn't get through. But I did get a message, emailed him a message.
Good. Yeah. The email address again is premier@novascotia.ca. Yeah.
Yeah, and I also signed a petition, and I'm hoping to attend the march tomorrow at 10 o'clock. And what I would just want to say is that people really have to stand together on this because we know it's the right thing to do.
Yep.
And we're not going to get the premier to listen by not doing anything. We really have to stand strong and let him know that we're not putting up with this, that he's going to have to start to listen to what the people of Nova Scotia want.
Well, hopefully he got a taste pasted that message
Boom!
this morning because I understand that, again, many people have indeed called the numbers that I've been provided, have sent emails and such. So I'm hoping that the Premier gets the message that Nova Scotians are not happy with his decision to hold a review.
Who paid for these people's suits, the chairs they sit in, the phones they talk on? Who is their boss? Us, right? What the fuck is wrong with these people? They've got their head up their ass thinking this because they've deluded everybody into believing that we don't have power, we can't do anything, we're just going to change the government, that's going to fix everything. It's a complete sham. It's a complete sham. That lady is spot on. There's so many good people waking up. Bureaucracy is a total goof. We're getting screwed. And if you don't see that the reappointment of these three individuals isn't part of the plan, yeah, we're going to give you a public inquiry, but we're going to have the same people. It's a sham. Please phone Blair and Trudeau and say, this is absolutely, I listed the numbers scrolling on the bottom there. Yeah, you got to pay for it. You got to pay for their phone and you have to pay to call them. But, what do you do? But let them know. Blow it up. Tell your friends. We don't want this because the families are the ones that should be deciding this. Not us. Not the fucking politicians, that's for sure, who are just doing it for the RCMP anyway. Oh, we've got to protect our secrets. Because it's their secrets that they're protecting, the government's secrets. They don't want people to know.
Oh, yeah, and I know, and I think this idea of the phone calls you suggested is very good because a lot of people can't get out and they won't be able to get out tomorrow either, right?
Yeah.
But this is one way of
get out there if you can.
Know that we're not standing for this.
And again, let's hope that he hears what Nova Scotians are saying, Pam.
And one more thing before I let you go, I know you got more callers. I listened to the news today about this workman. He was a very dangerous man, very dangerous. And you mean to say that the police, the RCMP, didn't know what kind of a person they were dealing with?
They knew exactly.
What if it was their own?
And in that case, my God, there should have been an Amber Alert out. There should have been precautions.
Cover up.
Police weren't
1001, 911.
So many things.
As soon as they get the call,
that need to be answered.
Yeah. Well said, Pam.
You're the monster.
Pam, I'm out of time. Okay. Appreciate your call. Thank you very much.
Well said, Pam.
Jim, just a final word going to go to Jim here. It's an email that Jim sent to the Premier. Jim writes, Dear Stephen McNeil, I am a former member of the RCMP and think there's been a great injustice in not going ahead with an inquiry into the mass shootings. I implore you to do what is right for the families and Nova Scotians. Well said, Jim. And
right on, Jim.
We're out of time here, but let me again pass on the phone numbers and the email addresses and the Twitter accounts that you can reach out and let the Premier of Nova Scotia know that you're not happy with this review. You can call his office in Halifax at 902-424-6600. You can call his constituency office in Middleton. It's a long-distance call, 902-825-2093. You can reach him via email at premier@novascotia.ca, or you can tweet a comment at Stephen McNeil.
Yes.
Spend the afternoon, make the calls, let the Premier know
100%.
how upset you are. All right, thanks to everyone who took part in a great couple of past hours here. Really appreciate hearing your thoughts and the fact that you reached out and let the Premier know and gave him a direct message that we demand.
Thank you.
Public inquiry. Minute now before 12 noon. We're going to break for a news update, then we're into the noon hours.
So, thanks to Rick for doing that. Obviously all the politicians, thanks to all of you. This is going to do something to people's mentality and those people who are in power. Huge, huge move in the chessboard. Understanding we all have a lot of power, way more than the deluded us to think that we don't. It's a complete sham. And we won't take it. Phone them. Let them know. Go out tomorrow. Take the day off work. Show those families the support. Don't back off. You got to keep this ball rolling. You do. It's not you. We have to step up our game even. Let them know this is not over at all. When we get the truth, the real truth, and families feel satisfied, this business about them just moving the commissioners over, what a fucking joke. You don't think that these 3 people are owned? That's why they moved them over there. It's a joke. I'm happy. I am truly happy for the success, because it's dialing people in. Hold on a second here. There's something really wrong with this, and I can do something about it. These people are going to listen, maybe. It's the start of something big. I've frankly never seen something like this before. Never. Not in Canada, probably not in the world. It is really amazing. And that is you. All due to you. So please continue. Don't stop. They want you to stop with the inquiry. We've put the 3 people in. We handpicked these people. They're their friends, for fuck's sake. The same people. The government is the RCMP. Is the CBC. It's all just smoke and mirrors. We can do it. We collectively. And we have. Right? People here on the docs cord, the people phoning with tips. I just got another one. You know, somebody was like, well, I got some stuff. Good police officers who are absolutely finished with this shit. They're like, no. I don't want my organization to be besmirched like this. Absolutely not. I didn't do anything. I would have gone down that road, or I did go down that road. That's what I signed on for. Not the paycheck, not the glory, not, sitting around getting pensions. No. I did this because I want to protect and save people, serve and protect people. Hold them accountable. Hello, Kendall. Awesome. Kendall helped us with the last protest. And you see, because that, right, it says they were said, 200 or 300 people on the ground. How many people watched that video? And that video, my videos aren't just here. They get rebroadcast by other people. So the numbers are much higher than you may think. And YouTube is complete and utter fucking liars to me. I've proven it years of this shit. They don't tell the truth. So your message carries big time. And even if it were totally 100% true, the number shows that there were double the people that went to that rally that were here that morning, that watched it and said, I'm there, thumbs up, my heart's with you. Beautiful. We'll try and do it tomorrow. 10 a.m., that's 7 a.m. at my time. Anybody who has the Facebooks and is going to be there and can do these block watch parties, I don't know how that stuff works, but we can do it. Some of this stuff is going to cost money. Somebody else posted they were going to send off the Freedom of Information requests over in Nova Scotia. New Brunswick is another one. The relationship between, Paul and I were speaking this morning about requesting. He gave me a bunch of ideas. Another thing I'm going to appeal for, I'm rattling off stuff fast, is somebody who is willing, and it takes a lot. I understand there's this courage thing because they've really battered us with fear. I won't do it just because I think I'm kind of on somebody's radar. So if somebody else wouldn't mind doing it, Steve would do it. I'm 99% sure, but he's having some stuff, so special prayers for him. Phone the Bible Hill detachment periodically. Request Mr. Dorrington, the man on the ticket. Right? Where's that at? Let's see if we can find this person. Be curious to find out if Mr. Dorrington is, in fact, I don't know, working out of Bible Hill. Maybe even a person. That would narrow things down. These we have to keep doing the research. We have to keep digging, regardless of the public inquiry, regardless of the cases that are going. Let's give them all the ammunition we can. We do that. Or our piece. Everybody's got the pieces. The Facebook groups, the everything. Where's this ticket? Excuse me. Speeding ticket. Okay. Right. Let's find out if this person is in fact a person. Nicholas Andrew Dorrington. Phone down to Bible Hill. Say, you know, I was just wondering if I could speak to Nicholas Dorrington or Nick Dorrington. Try it a few times, different hours. See if somebody says, oh yeah, we know who that is. He's not in right now. Of course, I'm saying that now, but let's see. Because I'm curious. I probably shouldn't have put it over but it doesn't matter. It's all the same. Now, I think we have Lenore. Also, I wanted to correct myself because somebody, I don't like being wrong. Gary Burhill. Okay, I'm not familiar with him. He's an MLA. Apparently, Gary Burhill, from the very onset, asked for the public inquiry, and he never deviated. He said, that's what we need. That's what I want. That's what my constituents want. When constituents, what the people want, as opposed to what they told you in the press conference, which is the families have told us they want the public inquiry, but we think it's better. The two of us decided. That was almost verbatim what they said. The two of us have decided that it would actually be better to have this review, which we concocted with our own rules, which is fixed, and will suppress information, and we can hide our dirty dirt, which they're all aware of. All of them are aware of it at that level. Lecky, Berman, New Brunswick operation running more than likely in Nova Scotia, undercover, right? Those people all knew. The people on the ground, the RCMP officers, most of them had no clue, right? So they're walking into something they didn't ask for, they didn't sign up for, in terms of something that's been premeditated upon them. It's not their fault. They should be equally pissed. Everybody in the story should be pissed. I don't think there should be anybody who's happy. I can't think of anybody off the top of my head. Okay, now let's go to, I think I've got it lined up here. Let's see, the Sheldon McLeod show. This was from Linda McDonald. Here we go. And Jeannie Sarson. Okay, this is part of the crowd of disinformation that the RCMP want to do, the divisiveness. Do not fall prey to it. I was informed by a high-level RCMP agent or officer. They didn't mince words with me. They were a little blunt, to say it minimally, but I don't care. You know, it doesn't matter, because my feelings or whatever in this thing, it doesn't matter. But they said, congratulations. Don't fall prey to the feminist crowd. Don't. Because they've done that. And it's a chess move. This is all chess moves. since 10:01, like I tweeted out. I've been saying that was the whole fucking deal. As soon as they got that phone call, they're like, oh shit, Gabriel is off the rails, and what are we going to do? We use the Twitter line, then nobody really knows. We'll try and deal with it. Oh, he's out. Oh shit, we let him out. Continue on. So I won't keep rambling. Let's listen to Linda McDonald and Jeannie Sarson prior. I don't know if it's both of them prior to this announcement. And you can see, because Lenore Zan is right in there with this boat. Lenore Zan, who absolutely got demolished in social media, and they're scrubbing. They're scrubbing. Somebody sent me I wonder if I can pull that up, a message from on the RCMP stuff and on the Facebooks, and they are deleting any negative comments towards them. So there's like 13 comments on this thing, which obviously is quite low about the but there is one in there, but it'll be disappeared by now. At the time, like, they just boom, 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 boom. Can't have these people saying anything negative about us. We have to try and use the psychological warfare. Oh, everybody loves them. Oh, okay. I must be crazy. No, you're not. These people are horrendously evil bastards at the top. Man, I use that word in capitals, like the truest sense. Okay, so, but they don't feel bad about it. That's their problem. They don't feel bad. They're going to continue on with this nonsense.
There's Sam Callio in the studio. Welcome back. It's the Sheldon McLeod Show for this Monday, July 27th. On Friday, we opened the show with a conversation with the Justice Minister of Nova Scotia, Mark Fury. There is a contingent gathered in the community, his constituency today, to protest, calling for action for the 22 victims, calling for a public inquiry. So, yeah, we're going to talk about that on the show. We have Professor
Laura.
Kage
Thanks,
joining the conversation around 1:45. Now, there is an update expected at 1:30 this afternoon from the town of Bridgewater Police Service. The chief and deputy chief are scheduled to speak to the media. This is after a suspect was on the run for about 5 days, and a neighbor spotted someone in a truck with a plow trying to smash their way out of a compound. That prompted a phone call to police, and early Sunday morning, around 1 o'clock, it was official that the suspect was captured alive. We'll talk about that with the mayor of Bridgewater in just a few moments, David Mitchell. We'll pick up that conversation at 12:45. A little later on, was doing some research on the weekend. By that I meant watching YouTube videos of Penn and Teller and Fool Us. We're going to hear from a man who actually was a participant. That Fool Us show, they try to fool Penn and Teller. Well, Vincenzo Ravina from Halifax was there in February after I was, and we'll talk to him on the show.
Let's see what
he's joined by Basketball Nova Scotia. They have a brand new project.
Yeah, are you?
It's about
do you believe this?
Inclusion.
One reply, and it's positive.
But here we have our
go and drop it on there. Keep it. Let's do it real time, and you watch. They'll disappear.
With the decision the federal and provincial governments took when it came to the investigation
I'm not going to talk over
whatever led up to.
Man, somebody let me know when they've dropped comments on the Twitter, because if you guys don't understand anything about the shadow banning, the principle of the how shadow banning works, what happens is you reply to a tweet, and you'll see it, and you think it's there, but nobody else sees it. So that's what happens when you're shadow banned. And so people don't understand that there's tons and tons of negative comments on there, but they're shadow banned. So if anybody wants to let me know when they've left something friendly on Lenore Zan's Twitter line, don't be rude. Don't be rude. We're way above that. But how she's flip-flopping, and we're hip to their game about the feminism and the divisiveness and their reappointment of these, just shifting these three commissioners over. And it's the same thing, just 2.0 with a little bit more rules. You got shadow banned on this YouTube early on. That's terrible. I hate shadow banning. I hate censorship. I really, really don't like it. Let's just see. Oh, well, I don't want to leave anything. I don't know exactly what to write, and plus I've got to. You're here. I have to entertain you. But let me know, and I will put it up and refresh it, and I will almost guarantee it's disappeared.
Happened, and well, might be lessons learned from the incident in April, the mass shooting. And our next guests have been frequent contributors to our show, and they're here today to talk to us about a letter they wrote. This was for immediate release. Nova Scotians fighting femicide statement on the mass shooting.
Oh my.
Demand an end to male violence against women and girls. Let's hear more about this with, first of all, Linda McDonald on the line with us this afternoon. Linda, thank you very much for joining us.
Hello, it's Sheldon. Nice to talk to you again.
Absolutely. And Jean Sarson is also on the line with us. Hi, Jean.
Hi, Sheldon.
Thank you for joining us. Jean, I did hear you in an interview on the weekend describing how disappointed you were in many ways with the governments, federally and provincially, but also with this quote-unquote father knows best attitude that in spite of all of those family members and relatives of victims saying they wanted inquiry, government went a different way. What can you tell us about your frustration?
Well, first, that's all I could think about. I was listening to Mark Fury and talk about that they had done a study or an assessment or had an analysis of what would be the best way to go. And I'm thinking to myself, well, they haven't contacted us, and the families are saying they hadn't been contacted. And there were so many letters saying, and people writing to say that they did not agree with.
Don't be fooled. Don't be fooled. Don't. I understand women and violence and the problem, and I very much, actually, very intimately, sadly, and what a serious problem this is. This isn't the place, but what it does is called Balkanization. It divides people because lots of people have very strong feelings on this, but you can't put apples and oranges together. And that's why they do that. And Lenore Zan and Linda McDonald and Jeannie Sarson have been instrumental since the onset. And we had the third lady in her group come along, which has because the funny thing is, if you research these different groups, zero of them have anything to do with mass murders. Zero of them have to do with supporting families of violence in general, like males, anything. So this is what they try to get you off on. Don't look over at the RCMP, because that's an entity that you can actually do something about. Don't look at the government, because that's something that you can do something at a dead man that you can't do anything about. Let's turn all the focus that direction, right? And keep it off this. That's what's going on. Please understand, you're being mass manipulated. It's crazy, and it's been going on all over the place in the media, the deleting of things, the pushing of certain ideas. It's spooky. It's a spooky world, but this is because people are so gravely dishonest, and people fall prey to bribery or blackmail, which very much exists. I know of 2 cases down in Nova Scotia with this case so far where mental illness has been threatened against people. So that's rather than speaking out and telling the truth. But people don't need to be afraid to the extent that they do, because just get them on tape. Boom. What did you just do? Sorry, you threatened me. Lisa, I have many people who have come to me who seem extremely credible, who have repeated the same statements and even the logic. If if Bo Forbes, Brenda Bo Forbes, her alias that she liked to use before, who was put up to it by her friends. They are good friends. I'm not talking out my ass. They are literally good friends in real life. This ex-military lady, military and afraid. You don't think she has guns? But she's so terrified she moves out of Portapique to Halifax. But, you know, she's worried about running into him in the grocery store for years. If you're that afraid, one would think that you'd move. What was it the other day? Somebody told me too. Thank you for all these great tips. I'm sorry I can't acknowledge who they are all the time because I don't remember. But Brenda Bo Forbes apparently came out on Friday and said she reported this to her commanding officer, her neighbor. What? When have you ever reported anything to your superior, high superior, about a neighbor who's very busy and doing his own job? They would tell you, why are you taking my time? This has nothing to do with your job. If you're wasting time like this with me, perhaps you should see the police, perhaps you should do this. You don't report it to a commanding officer. Maybe it was Kendall who told me that. But time for the girlfriend to start talking. She's not talking because she's a lot more involved than people may think. A lot more involved. But maybe that will come out. He was into some different things, different lifestyles, which everybody's entitled to do their own thing, but some people misunderstand. And he most certainly was into some different things. Let's continue.
A review, they wanted an inquiry. Lawyers from Dalhousie were saying that, senators were saying that, and I'm watching Mark Fury, and that's all that could come to my mind. It's like Father knows best. He's just saying this is what we're going to do, and it doesn't matter what anybody else thinks or wants to do, but that's what we want to do. And then
Kendall
I'm thinking,
does so much stuff.
as he's announcing who
the
panelists will be for the review, I'm thinking,
Moneypenny, everybody,
it's still like all in the family. Awesome. You have police and justice, and you have the ministers of public safety, who was a policeman, and Mark Fury, who was a policeman. And so I was kind of just shocked, I think.
Boom. You see, I don't know Patricia McKay. I don't believe I've seen you before in here. And she knows, she understands. This is a different thing that they're into. And to untrained eye, that's very could appear to be violent. And it is violent in a way, but it's something that two adults agree upon. And so if somebody witnesses something and then they're like, oh, but again, the logic, we just need to use the logic. Lisa was an extraordinarily jealous person because, well, Gabe liked to fool around. That was part of his lifestyle. And she was a bit of what they would call in that world, a brat. She tried to upset him, and on purpose. I don't want to really get into the intricacies of S&M, but that's what it's about. If you're really beaten, really, really beaten, and I've explained this about my girlfriend currently, it's really sad. When you're that conditioned mentally, being beaten, your body and what you do and what you say is very strange, and it's very sad. And you have to encourage that person to try and come back. Listen, it's okay. Nobody. You say the smallest thing, like sometimes with my girlfriend. Her eyes will, they dart because she's expecting, she says something to her, something, and it's not anything provocative at all. But she's concerned that she's going to get hit, and her eye will just like immediately dart. And it's involuntary at this point. And I'm like, no, everything's okay. You're fine here. Now, if Lisa was truly beaten, she's not going to antagonize her abuser by saying something as provocative, essentially, as, what are you doing sleeping with other people? I'm so pissed off. I hate that. You know, what is wrong with you? No, you don't do that. Because that would result in a beating. Right? Just logic. Oh, Brenda's Facebook is locked down. Ooh, very interesting. Very interesting. Wow. Yeah. Do you remember how the RCMP at the beginning of all this? The RCMP couldn't answer as to what she was even. She was an important witness who then became a girlfriend, who then became a common law, who then became a common law who didn't live with him. We still don't even know. And she's been scrubbed off the internet almost entirely. You can find like 2 references. Is it there? High likelihood. High likelihood. And you had see, this is the chess moves. What we do is we put out certain articles. We have certain people come out. There's usually a small cast of characters, small, because you have to keep it very in-house and compartmentalized. So you have a few people come out and they're like, oh, you know, I saw something or other. And you run it in the media hard. You use buzzwords, psychopath, and things that will fixate in people's minds. Women beater, you know, things to play upon everybody's morality. And you're like, well, Christ, I don't like women beaters. This guy's horrible. So then you, again, reassign the blame. Not saying that he's not to blame, because he absolutely is, right? But you stop looking at what is something you can literally do something about. RCMP, different characters in this story, you know, and those are things that you can literally change and do something about, but you can't really change a dead man. He's dead. And opening up more homes and things like that, whilst very good, and I support, you know, shelters and this kind of thing, you could really take all the money that you're going to waste on a lot of this other stuff and put it into places that it should be. You know? All right. Anyway. Brenda is the one who says Lisa was an abuse victim. Yeah, okay, sorry. Hello, Nova Scotia girl. How you doing? How you doing? Agent Margaritaville. Interesting. How are you doing? Agent Margaritaville has a couple of great videos, at least, that I'm aware of, out on the Nova Scotia stuff. People should go and check out their channel. Or do you want to drop a link? Oh, I don't think you're mod status. But this group should be celebrated. I believe the work done by people who follow this channel and have been instrumental in forcing the inquiry. Hold them to the fire. Thank you, sir. And that's thanks to you guys, right? That's kind of a third party, not solicited. I've never visited with Mr. Margaritaville at all. And that's you over here and you in the chat. Those of you who are rewatching this video or in other restreams of this video, it's you going down to the protests. Don't stop. You've really got them on the run. I've never seen them this terrified. All of them, politicians, the RCMP are like unbelievably. Campbell phoning his friends. Please come and save me. I need you to run a press article. I need you to do an interview with me. Come on, man. Rather than just tell the truth. But who are we talking about here? Look at his own history. Very sketchy. But if you come from a good place and you have no horse in the race, as in you don't have an agenda, you don't want money, you're not looking for ego or fame, and I can assure you, I'm not. That's why I can't talk to people. It's hard. It's hard. Even Steve being out of the picture the last few days is very difficult for me because I have to talk to people, and I don't particularly like talking to people who I don't like, even though I can sit here. I can't even sit here and look at the camera. This is how crazy shy I am. But, what is this about? This is about, and always has been, and never will deviate for me, about this. And it started with a phone call from my friend. She lost her family, half of her family, in one night. Unbelievable. Mr. Beaton is a fucking hero. These families have been looking for answers every which way from Sunday. They go, they ask. The RCMP say, we're not telling you anything. They return cars in conditions that are deplorable. You would never treat a dog this bad. Lee. And yet, they're okay with that. Why? Because you don't matter. And you never did. The government, their overseer, who you're the boss of, also is the same way. These are rogue institutions, rogue employees. Doesn't matter the party. Fire them all. Get rid of this. And we can let them know by the protests and the appropriate protests. If the families come to me tomorrow, a bunch of them, and they say, listen, you know what? We're fully on board with the femicide stuff, and this is what we want. Right on. I'm going to support it because you know what? I don't matter. I'm nobody. They are the people who do. So when you help somebody and you truly help somebody, you give them what they want. That's why the fucking review is a sham. Because if they can sit there and say in the same sentence almost, literally almost the same sentence, we've spoken to the families and we believe that it's best actually that we do the review. The families want the inquiry. We've been told that. And at least he told the truth about that. But it doesn't. These people have no conscience. I'm not using hyperbole when I use the word evil. They're truly evil. They sold their soul to get to the positions that they did. People become corrupted so easily, right? Sad, but a reality. One that we have to contend with. But do we? Make them run. That's what they need to do. Thank you for tuning in, by the way, Agent Margaritaville. I'm going to drop his channel in. If I can, or can somebody who's a mod. Let's see here. I don't want to get rid of that. Somebody suggested a song for me, so I'm going to check it out. Bad Brains. Got to pick a new theme song. Okay. So here we go. Here's Agent Margaritaville's channel. They've been putting out some great videos. I go all over. Lots of good people doing some great stuff, you know. And that's what Paul Palango told me on the phone. And that's what I've been saying for a long time, too. He was in agreement from the very get-go. This one is going to be solved. Drop the link here for his channel. See how that goes. There we go. He's got a video. Definitely has a few videos in here, a couple to do with Nova Scotia. Laura Lynn has a video. There's some really great videos out there, and support these guys because they're doing it from the goodness of their heart, you know, which is awesome, right? And so Paul was saying to me, you know, the way, and like I said, I envisioned this a long time ago. How we're going to do this is we all work together. There isn't an ego. There isn't an agenda. It's not I found something and, you know, I'm one-upping you. It's that we do it together. We're all on the same team and we walk hand in hand. Not somebody up front leading the charge. So please continue to do the hard work. Continue, because it's you. It's all of you. It's Adrian Margaritaville. It's O'Dear. It's Steve. It's Adrian. It's Tara. It's the Facebook groups and the tens of thousands of people, the organizers of the petitions, the organizers of marches, real ones that don't have agendas. Just the families, the people who speak out, heroes! And they're not alone. Because not that anybody has their back, because we're together, but there's thousands of them. Thousands of us. You can't touch that. And they know that. We're way bigger and way more powerful than they are. And what is that? Do you remember the meme they sold you? I can't do anything. My mom used to say this to me. Somebody who's powerful in her own right, I guess. You know, not powerful per se, but accomplished and definitely level-headed lawyer, you know. And she's like, I can't do anything. I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? Did I come out of you? Did I come out of you? Man. Okay, bye, little Miss So. Bye, little Miss So. We'll get back to the sham that is the interview. So thanks for stopping by. That's really neat. Appreciate it. The Sheldon.
I think that there was no outside information filtering through this wall of Father knows best. That was my big response.
Jean Sarson is here with us, and so is Linda McDonald. And Linda, this open letter that you wrote last week, there has been a constant barrage, constant information flowing out that groups are not happy with this decision. What questions were raised by the decision in your mind to go this way as opposed to having a full public inquiry?
I'm not sure how many questions would have been asked other than is how we can cover this up. That's the only one that seems to come to my mind, because if you look at a logical decision-making process with the pros and cons and take the data of the information that's out there, they denied any of the data because there's support from women's organizations from Newfoundland to BC wanting a public inquiry.
Be careful.
We've got letters from our own town council wanting a feminist lens, and all the feminists in Canada want a feminist lens, and women.
No, they don't, actually. There's many feminist groups who don't. Many. You got a small fringe group who's getting promised many things, just like the people who are doing the commissionaires, just jumping ship one to the other, they're getting things. Guaranteed. You dig through them. I'm not going to dig through females. I'm absolutely not, because this is a trap. It's an absolute trap. As a guy, don't ever do it. It's a big mistake. Women, however, I encourage you, go through their garbage, literally, and you will find the financials and what's going on. The promises of things. Women can take it down. Guys, yeah, not so much. Then you just become a misogynist with the labels. They want you to walk into the trap.
Organizations and the general public are contacting us and telling us thank you for what you're doing, and from people around the world are contacting us, and of course the families are demanding a public inquiry. I don't know what questions they asked, other than the suspicious one is, how can we keep this in-house, and how can we keep quiet the mistakes that were made, because we don't want people to know the real truth about, especially the misogyny. Which started with denying Brenda Forbes and her coming forward about the shooter and his violence. Mm-hmm. Because, the thing that upsets me is...
Please name me more. Please name me more. This cast of characters, very small, as it always is in these stories. Very small. You notice how she can drop one name? Maybe she can drop a couple more, and that's it. Then she's done. She's ran out. One of the interesting people we were speaking to was a person who funnily enough, should have probably one of the biggest axes to grind with Mr. Wardman. He lost everything, and I mean everything. Everything. All he had was the shirt on his back and the pants that he was wearing. That's it. Nothing. He lost his house. He lost all his belongings. He lost all his clothes. Boom, gone. Due to Mr. Wardman, who swindled him, scammed him, took all of his stuff, sold it right in front of him. He went down there. He's like, "What are you doing, man? You're selling my stuff." "Yeah, well, you owe me money, so I'm selling it." No. And he calls the police. Police didn't help him out. Very interesting. That guy's got a big axe to grind. He lived in Portapique, and when asked, "Are you aware of any kind of violence or anything like this?" His answer was no. And nobody has been afraid of him. One would wonder why he would lie. Does he have a reason to lie? No, he doesn't. He really dislikes that man a lot. And I wouldn't you? So people, when they dislike people, generally use hyperbole, will go on and exaggerate things. No. He's like, no.
Is that the Liberal government sent out, the Liberal MPs, 10 of them, sent a letter out this weekend acknowledging how thrilled they were that they have a feminist analysis in the review framework. There's no feminist analysis in the framework. They have a person who has experience with intimate partner violence, but that doesn't mean that's a feminist analysis. It's much broader than that.
Can we talk
about the feminist
the
analysis? You're looking at the misogyny of the police, what their culture of misogyny is, what the culture of the community was to ignore Brenda, what the culture of misogyny in our province is. I mean, women are really getting tired.
Seriously, watch her. Watch these people. You'll only hear a few names. In the Quebec mosque case, I only found 6, 7 names. That was it for the whole thing. And most of the people were like, "Well, I knew him back in high school and all this other stuff." I'm not going to debate on about that, because I understand that is apples and oranges. You see, you may disagree with me on certain things, and I respect that, and I respect your opinion. This one, though, we're all united on. And nothing to do with whatever I say about something else. But there's always a small cast of characters. And Paul said to me exactly the same thing today. We know about the how do you call it? Pattern. Pattern was the word he used also. There is a pattern to these things, how it is done. Media, certain people, buzzwords, psychology, very important. The association with different groups, so you get support, and that can't be attacked. It's very intentional. You handpick people who you want to be in certain places. Mm-hmm. Truth. Truth is all that matters. Truth is all that matters. This poor man, all of the families, he lost his wife. She's pregnant. Their son has no mom and never will. Not his biological one. The kid's hiding in the basement. 911. 2 hours. Not an exaggeration. The absolute truth. Just down the road. Steps away. Who matters here? Notice how none of the family was at the that rally. Notice how they didn't speak, to the best of my knowledge. I could be, I stand corrected if I am. And there will be. This one is the sad part, and it really breaks my heart. There's going to be manipulation within the families, and that's already started. And they're going to try and turn people on one another. This is sick, man. This is how much that they don't care about anybody, and they will bury the truth. Campbell, you can go and find that for yourself. I'm not going to punch it up right now. Campbell handpicked certain family members to talk to the other day. Why? Don't you think he would talk to all of them? Certain family members are a problem posed to the RCMP, to the truth. Those people, well, we can't talk to them. They're not our friends. The ones who get on board with the program, they'll be our friends. I pray that nobody will fall victim to this shit, because it's depraved, horrific, and evil, because nobody would do these things. You wouldn't do them.
I just watched the live feed of the strike in Victoria Park in Halifax, and I'm so moved by how many people were there and how strong their voices were about a feminist analysis, and how angry they are that femicide is not seen as a crime in this country. And, you know, we pay good taxes as women and men who support women in this country, and we're not getting the benefit of our money that we're spending. Our women's human rights are being denied again in this inquiry. And do
you see what they just did? This is against men. This is against me as a male. If I don't support their cause, that means I'm a misogynist. They just did it. This is the psychology of how this attack works. The men who support women. If you don't support women, that must mean that you don't go along with our plan. Sorry? No, that has nothing to do with it. I support women. My family, all women, very powerful, very accomplished. I wouldn't be in this world if it weren't for them. They're beautiful. And now, do I hate women? No, I don't. Small crowd. How many people were there? Can we get some numbers? Does anybody have any numbers on how many people were at the Halifax one? I'm sure the media, the owned media, took the angles at the proper places and cropped it. The furry protest up at his office with 23. See, the number is very important too. 23, I believe it was, people representing the dead, the fallen, lying on the ground in front of Hurry's office. That's what did this. You guys did this. And I know I go on ad nauseum about how much I appreciate what you do. I really do. It restores my faith in humanity. And beyond that, who cares about my stuff? It gives something to these families to let them know that they're not alone. And no matter how much they get kicked around and abused and beaten down and traumatized by the very people who are supposed to protect them, they know there are a ton of people walking beside them or behind them. Because to me, they're the leaders. Just like they were at the march, and just like they should have been. All up front. Thank you.
To me, it's a silencing exercise. And as I said on TV this weekend, you can't solve violence in silence. And that's exactly what they're expecting us to swallow today.
Nova Scotia feminists fighting femicide, a statement on the mass shooting. And I'll have the same question for both of you
people.
To end. You mentioned these members of parliament, all of whom belong to the Liberal Party, who all are saying that they are pleased with this call, welcoming a joint review into the mass shooting.
Wow.
But it was Lenore Zann who sent a letter directly to Bill Blair asking for a full inquiry.
Don't tell me that they had like that's next level crazy. Are there a lot of homeless people that hang out down where this protest was? Did they actually plan a protest where homeless people would be so that they inflated their numbers? I don't want to put on the tinfoil here, but that's freaky. We're gonna do. Oh, that's scary. Wow, the lying that they will go to. Holy shit, man. That is really bad. They did not use them as props? Oh, okay. Well, then, good.
I'm curious, since obviously she is well known within the community as someone fighting for women's rights. We'll start with you, Jean. The fact that Lenore Zann didn't want to perhaps question this decision taken by the federal government, her own party, her own government.
Well, I think I have to expand on that, not only Lenore Zann, because I think federally she's also on the Status of Women Committee, or some committee that looks at the issues of women's equality.
Surprise!
And I think by just joining the provincial other members of parliament without maybe coming back to her constituents and asking that question, should we be accepting the review? Should we not accept the review? I'm upset that did not happen, but I'm also upset that there was no pressure put on the ministers of the status of women, provincially and federally, to join with Mark Fury, to join with Bill Blair, because the status of women ministers, they...
sorry to interrupt again. I'm sure many of you are aware of Miriam Monsef and her convenient shift. It's too bad I don't have my whole videos up. I'm very familiar with Miriam Monsef. Very familiar with her and her story. The brown envelopes. Just in case she's still watching. Oh, I still have them. So I understand your silence. I know why. Be very careful what you might step into.
have a mandate to look at women's human right equality. They have a mandate to address violence against women and girls. And federally, Monsef's office, Minister Monsef, said that it was beyond their mandate, which is really confusing, a contradiction to her mandate, which is about violence against women and girls. And it was deferred to Bill Blair. And provincially, Kelly Regan has not answered our letter when we asked her for support. So I'm not sure if Lenore Zann has contacted the minister federally and provincially to ask about their involvement in addressing the mass shooting and the femicide that happened here in April.
And let's, Linda, talk about the same issue. Obviously, the government has the support of its members. We don't see anyone stepping outside of that circle to say, this is not what people ask for. This is not what some of them had been asking for.
Well, I see where Lenore posted she was confused that feminists weren't happy with the mandate. Because, of course, the feminist analysis is not listed in the mandate, and we know from the framework it's not going to happen either unless we keep pushing. So Lenore or Bernadette Jordan, who went on CBC radio on Saturday defending the I call it private review because it's going to be private. There's 2 MPs, women in our province, and then the federal women, Marian Monsef and Kelly Regan. All of those women, they have a responsibility to come to the grassroots and ask us what a feminist analysis is if they don't know, if they don't understand. We're right here. We're willing to talk. I mean, the men MPs can come as well. But, you know, especially women that we voted into positional power, that we respected that they would take our voice to gain justice and human rights. I'm very disappointed because it's not acceptable.
Okay, so let's just see here. Show you a little bit more how this works, this game. Lenore Zann's Facebook page. Okay. Oh, you know, she's just thanks for your our perseverance has paid off. Right? She was the one. No, she sent a letter saying she didn't want this. And so then she claims that she did. I call that a lie. And then you go through, though, the comments are very interesting. Lots of bot accounts here. Fabulous news, wonderful news, good news, thank you, wonderful news. I had faith in you along. Wonderful news. Big thank you to Jean Sarson and Linda McDonald and you. I completely agree. Thank you. Deserve our thanks. Excellent news. Hard heart. Thank you, God. Huge win. Thanks. Wonderful news. Excellent news. Wonderful news. Excellent news. Good news. Wonderful. Thank you. Claps. Fantastic. Way to go, people. Way to go, Lenore. Amazing news. The greatest news this year. Excellent news. Fabulous news. Wonderful. Fantastic news. Superb choices for commissioners. You and your group won. Really? Fantastic news. Bravo. Great news. Excellent news. Thank you so much. Thank you, Perseverance, for your perseverance. Great news. Thank you. Thank you. Thanks. Thank you, Lenore. I don't understand that comment exactly. Working for us. Finally. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Applauding. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Do you see what they do? I know personally some people who put some very negative comments on that. Do you see those? Oh, those are removed. Instead, you have bot accounts, B-O-T accounts, fake, many, who just post posts saying, we support you, we love you. You don't have one dissenter, not even one dissenter. Not one. Does that strike you as a little odd in a world that has diversity of thought? That there might be one person who disagrees with that? I know a few people who do, and I know a few people who post it. But you see, this is what they do. Right? Because then people look at it, and sadly, this influences their brains. Anybody who wants to read about this, the studies on how this works, many studies out there, conditioning and peer pressure and feeling like you need to be part of the crowd. So they're like, oh, okay, I must just be totally stupid. Everybody else thinks that this is great. The reality is, no, you're lying. You're manipulating. It's all an illusion. Don't believe the shit on Facebook and the Tweeties and the this is all high level manipulation. This is TV 2.0. That's how it works. Did anybody try the Tweeties? Because I'm guaranteeing you that you got your stuff removed if you did on these people. This is how it works. Just shadow ban you. You'll see it. You will see it. Nobody else will see it. 0 people will see it. But you think somebody, oh, the world sees my comments. I'm very upset. No, they don't. You didn't play the game. You don't play the game, nobody sees you. You're blocked. Wow. Accounts on lockdown. I wonder, do you think they're very confident in what they say? The name dropping one name who's in there? Who only one name who supports them? This is all so next level stuff. I mean, it's basic, but understanding and accepting, this is the difficult part. This is the really difficult part, is accepting that stuff I talk about, that it's evil and it exists and it's 100% real. That's real. What you see there isn't real. It's all fucking smoke and mirrors and lies. And they try to delude you, gaslight you. Don't fall prey. You're smarter than that. I know it. That's why you're here. Right? That's why you uncover the truth. And the RCMP then have to say, oh, sorry, we changed that. It's not, I haven't seen Linda McDonald do shit in terms of research. How about Jean Sarson? Has she done anything? I haven't seen anything. I've seen a lot of claims for something that she believes in. How about Lenore Zan? Is she doing anything? Or is she soapboxing, flip-flopping, and lying? Yeah, I love my Irish history.
In 2020, with a feminist
you
framework,
came here for the Doritos.
A government, federal government, saying that Bill Blair can go ahead and make a decision about women's lives and not include the women and gender equality division. It's not acceptable. And like I said, I'm really starting to think about all of women. We've had to fight hard to get the vote. We've had to fight hard to get jobs and not be fired because we were pregnant. We've had to fight hard to not be sexually harassed on the workplace. And all of our hard-earned dollars, our taxpayer dollars, are going into reinforcing the patriarchy right now in this review.
Okay, so I'm actually gonna stop it right there. If you guys want to listen, I'll give you the link. I refuse to support that because I know what it is, and it's buzzwords, lies, psychological manipulation, and it's terrible, and it's very divisive. I'm not going to play party to that. I just wanted to point out that is just a joke. So I'm very sorry about that we're all getting duped or attempting to dupe us. I think that's about it. I won't keep you on the line. Zuckerberg to testify. Oh, that'll be interesting. Project Veritas is funded. Attitude. Okay, I got Oh, okay. Nova Scotia guy, if you're watching. Thank you for the song suggestion. I believe there is like lots of other things going on around the background, but I just think it's a fantastic day. It was a fantastic day for everybody. The tension that has been drawn, that the change in quick succession, very quick succession. We demand something because weeks and weeks and months. Oh, we'll tell you. One protest, one video, a bunch of videos. And oh yeah, we have it. That was planned. We have it, by the way. Here it is. Which has already been, of course, carefully constructed just to suit their benefits. And families are like, no, thanks. You know, your friend who always says, here, try this. It tastes like shit. And you're like, no, I don't really want to try it. Thanks. You want to eat shit? That's great. It's that kind of thinking. So you're like, no, I'm not buying. Sorry. Appreciate that. Hey, our good buddy, what news? ECC. I love my good friends. They're awesome. Oh, what is going on now? Something is beeping. That's the Faceberg, I think. I'm beginning to understand this Faceberg a little bit, even though I will not fall prey to their garbage either. I like my character on Faceberg. He's kind of good. But of course I can't get admitted to anything because of my name and where I say I live. At least I haven't gone to Critical's spot yet where you get banned for the name. I didn't get banned. I don't know why, but anyway. That's for another day. Love you too. Yeah, you guys are boiling down there. Boiling, eh? 40, was it 41 also in your area with the humidity? Please look at Faceberg message. Okay. Then I will look at the Faceberg. Where is the Faceberg? Okay, there we go. Oh, I got a bunch. Uh-oh. Brenda Bow Forbes. I think this may take a little while to load. My computer needs a restart. It gets a little clogged. I have like 7,000 tabs open. Like, no word of a lie, on my phone, there is probably my Mozilla has, I'm going to say at least 1,000 tabs open. This is how crazy it is. Okay, come on. Are you going to load? Wait. Can I open it on something else? Okay, here we go. And the messenger. And you sent an attachment. Oh, and it's loading. It's loading. This is a dog kisser. What? I don't know what I'm looking for here. Oh, the fiddle. Oh, Natalie McMaster did a video. Oh, that'd be good. Okay. Let's see. How do you open this? Natalie McMaster used Emily for a video. How beautiful. How tragic. Cut short. We'll play that video. Oh, if it loads. This is fun stuff. Been 40s here in the Kawarthas. I know how to say this name because I've been there. I know it. Kawarthas. You lost 10 pounds. No air conditioning in the Kawarthas. There's lots of lakes nearby though. And it's 10:30. Is this going to load or no? Are we just going to watch Faceberg's spin? What is it? I used to like that joke about the Newfie operating system. Has anybody ever seen that? I love Newfies, and they have the best sense of humor. They really do. No, farther down. Okay, this one. What is this? Oh, is it Dan? Oh, Daniel or Daryl Curry. Oh, motherfucker! It's not gonna load. I have too much shit open. Let's try this. This one. Where's that? Where is this one? There we go. Maybe this one will load. Oh, okay, here we go. See, just use a different browser. Oh, I'm not loaded. Not now. This afternoon, I had an email ready to send to several politicians when my daughter texted me and said the federal government agreed to a public inquiry. I still feel let down by our government, so I'm going to post it here. Oh, well, I guess that didn't make... Nobody has this guy's consensus at all. Nobody's in his boat. He's crazy. Remember Lenore Zann and everybody saying to you, oh, no, everything's super. Thank you. I still feel let down by our government, so I'm going to post it here. Now, we have been let down by all levels of government and deserve better. Here is the email that I did not send. Quote, it disappoints me so much that I have to write this email, but I feel I must. Thank you. You are proactive and you are a great citizen. The Nova Scotia and Canadian governments total disregard for disregard for the victims and families and all those suffering from the tragic events of 18 and 19, 2020 is appalling. Why are Nova Scotia MLAs not demanding full public inquiry? Where are your voices? The recent announcements by Mr. Furry, Honorable, is no longer appropriate, agreeing to support the inquiry if the federal government agrees, leaves more questions. Why isn't he and all other Nova Scotians demanding? Well, that's because he wrote it. He wrote the sham other one. Cooperation from the federal government instead of cowering to them. He's not cowering. He's an RCMP member. Former. It's so frustrating that we must go to these lengths to get what is due to all Nova Scotians and Canadians. Bing. I implore all politicians to do what is right and push for the full inquiry. There isn't an hour that goes by that I do not think of the events of those 2 days as I am a victim, not Gabriel Wortman, but of the RCMP. Oh, boom. Wow, that's succinct, eh? That really sums it up. I started my Sunday, April 19th, with an early morning phone call to assist the Portapique evacuees at the Bridge Onslow Belmont Fire Brigade. Ooh. Seemed like just another task that we, as volunteer firefighters in rural Nova Scotia, take on, so I was more than happy to help. We did not expect to get shot at, have our hall filled with bullet holes, or end up hiding under tables and chairs for an hour while being terrorized by the RCMP. Shots fired at us, doors being tugged at, someone trying to get in, no information. Twitter said that Gabriel Wortman was in our area. It was terrifying, to put it mildly. When Twitter finally advised us that Gabriel Wortman was in custody when he was already dead for a long time, way more than 14 minutes, we came out of hiding. How horrific is that? We have recorded video surveillance around our hall, so we were able to piece the events together ourselves, since 2 RCMP members never spoke to us or made themselves known. Just basically opened fire and then left. Mr. Furry, as former RCMP member, maybe you are used to being shot at with no protection, but we're not used to that. Counseling can do only so much to relieve the pain and stress of the events of that day. Maybe you are all aware, but in case you're not, we had an evacuee. Boom. Remember the interview with Sharon? She told us, because nobody else did. Nobody else did, but Sharon did. We knew over here. The media didn't. At our hall, whose family member was murdered in Portapic. And while the RCMP were shooting at us, we were trying to console him. I had a bad day on April 19th, but nothing compared to the evacuee who lost his family member and then was shot at by the Mounties. Re-victimized. I mean, how much worse can it get? I need answers that I know CERT, shit, or a review can't provide. Shit. There are so many victims from the events of those 2 days. From the families of the deceased to the firefighters who attended those scenes where their friends and or neighbors were murdered, to those of us being shot at while helping evacuees, to the RCMP members who were involved, the good ones, the stand-up guys, the heroes. We all need answers. I do not want or expect a reply to my email. I only want to see my elected officials pushing for what we deserve. My employee, that's my employee, your employee. A full public inquiry and nothing less. Please represent your constituents and not your personal or political interests. Do your job. Wow. Isn't that amazing? That gets a love. I don't know how to do that stuff here. What do you do? Heart? Oh, okay, I can't on this thing. I can't. And this just balls. I'm going to put down that link here. I encourage you also to go. We got to really stand up and come on, man. We're much bigger than the fucking hashtags and avatars and no. We need to stand up for each other, show each other support. I don't care if you don't know these people. Of course you don't know them. Many of you don't know anybody involved in this story. It's the goodness of your heart that keeps you pure, or as pure as we can be. I'm definitely not pure. But we need to support one another, encourage one another. It's okay to talk. That is a hell of an email. That is a hell of an email. And you don't think that they got pressured? Oh, they did. The deleted. Anybody who has not watched that video interview with Sharon, Steve, and I, it was phenomenal. Really was. And she is a real stand-up lady. Awesome. I mean, she actually text. And she said, what did she say? You're so happy. And I like to know that people are happy. We are getting the inquiry. Yay! Awesome. And that's because, she stood up, said, listen, this is what I knew. This is what I saw. I don't want to know. I don't want people to know who I am. Okay, that's cool. We can do that. We can definitely do that. We can alter your voice. We can do whatever to protect you. But she stood up and told the truth. Not the deleted post that Onslow was pressured to get rid of. And How many others are there? And how many are going to start standing up now? The deluge that's going to start to come forward turns from draw, and boom. It's going to be like the Bay of Fundy, man. It's going to be like the Bay of Fundy. These people aren't even going to know what hit them. And it's so good for the mentality of people, the soul, the spirit of people. I have power. There are people that stand up and believe what I believe. I want better things. We're in this together. We have people who do act against our interests. They don't care about us. They will throw anybody and everybody under the bus, including their own members, their family members. That's not bullshit when I say that. That's true. That's true. I try to never bullshit with people. Ever. That's just bad. You get a very bad name if you start running around bullshitting. Please continue. Right? So much great stuff. I'm so proud of all of you. And I'm not in a position to be judgmental. I'm not. Really not. But I am proud of you. And you should be proud of yourselves. Because it is a lot coming from here. I guarantee you. We know that. Literally, the 24th, the 28th press conferences, you can see. Those things, they change things. They change things all the time. Simply because of what's being said here. So you have a voice. You have power. And you have support. And these people have support. Your love. Unbelievable. Truth will win. We will win. It's a long battle. And this is going to have many twists and turns. But this is the first step. So amazing. Please contact me if you know anything or anybody in the listed below, or join us over on the Discord. Your little thing that you may think is not important can be massive. It really can. We're talking about minutes. We're talking about what you saw, anything, everything. And I know I harp on about it, but it's important. Because it only gets solved with us. The RCMP aren't going to investigate themselves. Are you out of your mind? No, you're not. You're smart. You know the games that the federal government is playing, the provincial governments are playing. So, what do? Do you hashtag Nova Scotia Strong? Or do you bust your ass and give these people what they deserve? The truth. The truth. I'll see if that loaded the Emily video. I'm really touched that. Where was that? Oh, it was over there. I don't know where Sam. Whatever. I don't think it's going to load. I'd like it to. But I can't shut it down. Shut it down! Because if I shut it down, I shut down StreamYard. So let's just I'll put the post in here. Go over, give it a love, give it a like. Give that guy some love and like. Applaud people for speaking up. Talk to your family members. Listen, you can do it. Action. Words can't do much. They really can't. I'm sorry. I feel bad for you. It doesn't really do anything. Actions do stuff. And there's lots at your disposal. Tons. Continue, please. I'm very, very happy. I'm very happy for Tara. And her success today, well, it's not a success. It was just it was really touching. She's going to get the support, which nobody can give her but the families. And I'm glad, because she's on their team and we're all behind her, all behind all of them. And somebody did say to me today, to contact Mr. Beat, and I just I can't, he's got lots of stuff, and I hope he knows that, not in a funny way, in a weird way, that we love him. All of them. And I'm not going to forget. And nor are many of you, if not all. One of the guys that works in the background dumps tons and tons of information. I said to him, make sure that he's just been working so hard. And I said, please make sure you're eating and drinking, and spending time with your family and doing good stuff, things that are good for you spiritually and mentally and physically, getting lots of sleep. And he said, I'm in this for the long haul. It was really touching. We're not going to give up. We're never going to give up. God bless you all. Have a good evening.